This is Conspiracy Theory, starring Kieran Torres, Donald Von Griffin, Leslie Danneberger, Glenn Montgomery, and me, the GM, Brandon Blackmore. This week's game is brought to you by Necromodello. It's Cerveza. Okay. So, as we left our adventures last week, getting some weird static. Do you hear static?
I am too. I'm hearing it.
A little bit of a hissy background noise, yeah.
I mean, this is back in a pattern every once in a while.
Let's see if I mute myself. Do I still hear it? No. When I'm muted, I still hear it. So I think it's one of you guys. Well, whatever. If you figure it out, great. If not, we'll live. So, you're in a nice Bentley sedan. You're driving away from the car park. You are at one far edge of London, and the portal, which presumably you want to run away to, is at the other far edge of London. And downtown is Templars, which is probably a safe haven, if they'll let you in. And presumably, even though there are literally dozens of dead and or injured soldiers who were trying to kill you back at the car park, in theory there could be many more, or at least some more, still looking for you in and about London. So,
Nothing else, maybe they can get
Brendan's checking around and see if I can figure out what method they're using to coordinate their attacks on us.
ooh, that makes sense. That's something I hadn't thought of. I mean, when I was filling in for you last week, I didn't think of that. Okay. We'll say on the way out of the car park,
Right.
John Morgan grabbed a belt or harness or whatever and a helmet off of one of the, we're just going to say he was injured, soldiers. And when you pull his helmet off, he's not like a peeled grape or anything. He's a human being and looks normal. Not some kind of, not some kind of, no weird Cthulhuoid monster. He's just a normal guy.
Junkie.
Who's trying to kill you. Anyway, so you're as you're driving away, John Morgan's like trying to hack into the communications gear of the guy, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool. I don't think you need to roll dice for that. I mean, you've got the helmet right in front of you. It's not like you're guessing at anything. So
Okay.
yeah, sure. Apparently, it's very sophisticated communications gear. The helmet has a few, not just one, a few cameras built into it. There's like at the back of the helmet, there's like some kind of sensor for body heat and pulse, and you think there's a good chance that, being that there is none, this particular helmet is probably going to go dead soon, because if you were setting this up, that's what you would do.
Yep.
And so you have a limited time window to do stuff before they just pull a plug on this particular thing or rotate their frequencies or codes or whatever. Oh yeah, and it's got radio and voice and stuff.
Okay.
And a little heads-up display inside the helmet with, like, presumably anything. It's like a tiny little like Google Glass, right? Except whole helmet. Oh, like Iron Man when they show Robert Downey Jr.'s face up close and he's got all this shit in front of him. Yeah, it's like that.
Okay.
Not quite that busy.
Essentially, I'm trying to analyze what information is being given to the soldiers to see how it is that they're following us, how it is that they're tracking us, and what method they're using to communicate with one another.
Well, they have access. Well, the helmet you're dealing with has access to several different frequencies, some of which are like appear to be like local, like his squad, like maybe a dozen people max, and then there's one that's like operational, which is like anywhere from at least 40 people, probably more. And then there's a frequency that goes directly to wherever operations is, the people telling them what to do, which is like only one way. You know, operations can talk to them and they can talk back, but it's not a public line to everybody else on the team.
Okay.
And let's see, I'm just giving you stuff without rolling because this is stuff that I think you just should normally be able to figure out because it's sitting in your lap. If you scroll through like the buffer and the helmet and the recent history, you see pictures that look like satellite pictures, like live satellite pictures, and you see kind of like GPS, like Garmin GPS map kind of stuff, leading them to the parking garage from wherever they were previously.
Right.
That kind of thing. Oh, one thing they do not have, as far as you know, not that you've seen anyway, actual pictures identifying you as individuals. There's like a couple of shots in the memory of the helmet of the van you were driving and the license plate, and there is a picture of Mark Savage behind the wheel. But other than that, it's all blurry.
They only know us as the people who were spying on their building.
Okay, so this looks to be like perfectly legitimate, like law enforcement kind of data rather than anything spooky or out of the ordinary.
Well, it's really good data, but yeah. I mean, it's not like magic or anything.
Right.
Well, I'm curious as to how they figured out we were spying on their building.
They
don't know who we are specifically. They just know we were spying on their building.
Right. All right. See if I can devise some way of I'm not going to put it into effect, but see if I can come up with some way to jam the radio transmit or the radio frequencies that they're using to communicate.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can come up with that. I mean, again, I don't even think I'd make you roll for that. You have to spend a fringe point when you activate it. But actually coming up with it, I don't think you need to roll. It's just
okay.
Well, maybe I will. I'll make you roll just to see how good it is when you deploy it.
All right.
But it's kind of like a cell phone jammer.
Right.
Except the frequencies these guys are using would not be covered by a cell phone jammer. They're outside that range. So, on the bright side, if you jam their frequencies, you could still make a phone call.
I'll make sure that what's jamming them is Mexican soap opera.
Here you go.
Don't have it jam just in the vicinity that we're in, so that they can use that to track us.
Oh yeah, I know that. I'm aware of this. I'm actually going to have it come off of probably have it come off of another wireless system. But in the meantime, let's see if they're still tracking us.
Roll some dice.
Okay.
I'm assuming you're doing it by looking through. Are you looking through like satellites or cameras?
Actually, I'll probably use the CCTV communication system, since we're obviously going to be on there. I want to see if they've made this particular vehicle or not yet. If anybody's tracking it. Okay. I rolled an 8 on the dice.
That's not bad.
Let's see. Network engineering, that'd be 11. Agent of Chaos, that'd be 13.
11's fine.
Okay.
You pick up, and the signals are encrypted, but you have the helmet in front of you, and until they rotate their encryption codes, because like every single helmet does not have its own code, because that'd be just crazy.
Right.
But like all of them will like rotate at the same time with a particular command, unless they. So like, let me see how they put this. Okay, every helmet has its own ID, and then they can specifically tell IDs to rotate to a new signal. And the thing is, when a helmet is lost or disabled or the agent dies or whatever, they'll rotate all the helmets that are still inactive to the next encryption signal, the encryption code, and that helmet just won't get the signal and won't get rotated, and it'll just go dead. So maybe that's not realistic, but that's how it works. So,
Okay.
so for now, you're picking up groups of 2 and 3.
That's very realistic if we assume they have a certain level of incompetence.
In groups of 2 or 3, you see people patrolling, essentially, the streets, looking around. Some are up on rooftops. Some are either... They're going too fast to be walking, so they're probably driving or riding a motorcycle. Some are walking, like that. So they don't appear to have made this vehicle, and they don't appear to know where you are yet.
We're not driving like we're running away, so...
Based on the telemetry you get that's actually being sent to the helmets, because that's convenient, because it kind of tells you where they are, because they each have their own little maps. They are fanning out around the parking garage.
Okay.
Are any of them following the false lampers?
Oh yeah, and there's a dozen or so moving to the northeast, which was the false trail of dead cameras that you set up last week.
All right. Okay. At this point, I'm going to see if we can. I'm going to stay. I'll lay low, stay quiet, and calm my basic urge, which is to try and screw with these people as hard as possible. But in doing so, I may very well get us noticed. So I'll wait and see what happens next.
In the meantime, you guys are heading to the Templar base. Is that what you're doing?
Yes, I guess so.
Okay, Mark Savage. Make some kind of driving and avoiding people who are looking for you kind of roll. Tell me what you get.
Okay, 10 on the dice, plus 3.
So how much total?
13.
Yes. They rolled particularly badly, which I guess kind of balances out how well they rolled last week. You get all the way to the Templar base. You do see a few people who you think are looking for you. Some of them are not as obvious as the guys in the black uniforms. Some of them are, plumbers or newspaper delivery or woman pushing a baby carriage, that kind of thing, a pram, that kind of thing. But none spot you, and you get to the Templars. What did I call that? I had a name for that, but I don't remember what it was.
Lodge, probably.
The temple? I don't know.
Temple, yeah, or lodge.
Anyway, you get there. If you recall, there's like a big courtyard with buildings around it in the square. And all the roads that actually enter into that courtyard have police with small barricades keeping people out. So do you park nearby and walk up? Or do you drive up? What do you do?
I guess we drive up to the gate and...
Do you have a way of them knowing who we are? So if they'll let us in? Can we drop a name?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, they don't have pictures on it on any of us except for Mark. We could put we could put a cover face somehow, and we can walk somewhere and walk over.
We've got the hat that hides my face from CCTV cameras.
Well, Charlotte's the one who's actually a member of the Templars, so presumably...
Yeah.
Up to her.
So, Charlotte, how do we approach this?
I just walked up to them. It was last time.
Okay, so I guess we...
I mean, I just don't want to pull up in a stolen vehicle. I don't think you really think.
Okay, so we should drop the vehicle off somewhere first?
I mean,
Find a parking lot.
find a car park.
Yeah, we drop it off at a car park.
You pay the attendant when you go in, and he gives you a little slip of paper. L20. Go park there.
Okay.
And then don't lose that, because you'll get the maximum fee when you leave if you lose your slip of paper. Very important.
Okay, I make sure to leave it on the dashboard of the car when we leave the car.
Okay.
That way the poor guy, when he gets his car back after he misplaced it so horribly.
And then you walk to the Templars?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Okay.
As long as it's not too far.
Hey, unless you guys want to just drive up to it.
It's a couple of blocks.
This'll do.
So let's see if they notice you walking a couple of blocks. As you inconspicuously walk up to the Templars. No.
Charlotte, you've got a point of contact for this place, don't you? Just call ahead and let them know we're coming. That way they'll let us through the barricades.
Didn't they Brandon, didn't they recognize me last time I came up?
They did.
Yeah,
Police just waved you through. So yeah, nobody appears to spot you. At least no one makes it obvious that they spot you. You go down the road to the courtyard. There's a couple of police. There's a wooden barricade. The police, greet Charlotte, not by name, but they say, "Ma'am," and make no move to stop you. Oh, they do ask, "These gentlemen with you?"
Yes, they are all with me.
All right then. And they go back to what they were doing.
Thank you. All right.
They seem to know instinctively that you belong here.
Oof.
So you go into the courtyard. There's people walking to and fro, some people chatting to each other. Kind of has a feel of a military school kind of a thing. Although they're not children, they're grown-ups.
Okay, so it's like West Point instead.
Sure. And they're not like wearing uniforms, but thematically, you see a lot of people wearing burgundy and white. It's just the way they go. And gray. So where are you going, Charlotte? What are you doing?
Did they give me a person I would have to report to, or not? If not, I'll just go into to see that guy again. Yeah.
Richard Sonak was the guy who is, in theory, your superior.
Yeah. All right. Well then.
I mean, he'll communicate through intermediaries to you, and vice versa, as the need arises. But he's actually your superior.
Yeah.
The people that you communicate with or through, they're not like above you per se. They're just other people who also have jobs in the Templars. So you walk in. Nobody stops you. There are obviously guards. Some are carrying hand-to-hand weapons like a sword or an axe or something, and several have pistols or rifles slung over their shoulder, that kind of deal. They don't seem to have standardized on weaponry. The guards all have kind of like a uniform appearance to how they're dressed. And again, it's a lot of dark gray, burgundy, and white. And you go in, and there's huge paintings and just, hey, you guys, other guys have been here once before, right? But Alan hasn't, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys know what this looks like. But Alan hasn't seen it. It's fabulously elaborate. The ceilings are like 30 feet tall. There's paintings that you could drive a car through if there wasn't a painting there. The carpet is like lush on the stairways, and there's enormous tiled floors and great big designs. A lot of crosses. Not like Christian crosses or Eastern Orthodox crosses, but like more like Maltese cross type things, like a X but up and down. And anyway, Charlotte leads you toward a large door that is open, and there's a young woman standing at the door with a clipboard. And from the direction you're looking at it, it looks like burl rosewood, like a very ornate rosewood clipboard. Blah, blah, blah. And she stops you politely by standing in front of you, and she says, Miss Day, did you have an appointment?
Nope, I don't. You want me to make one, or can I see if he's available?
She looks down at her clipboard and taps it with her finger a couple of times. And she goes, well, actually, Mr. Sonic has some time free. If you'll stay here for just a moment, I'll see if he can see you.
Wonderful.
And the young woman walks into the large room that the doors are open to. Another young woman in a red mini dress, I guess, but like not tacky. Like this mini dress costs more than most people's cars. With a tray, it offers you guys either a small glass of scotch or a glass of champagne, and there's also a tiny little plate of like hors d'oeuvres. Care for anything?
I'll pass.
Now I'll take some scotch and give her the old, how you doing, honey?
She just smiles nicely at you and goes on her way. The other young woman comes out, and she's wearing more like a business suit, but again, it's burgundy. And she says, Mr. Sonic will see you. Are you all going in?
Y'all wanna go in?
I'll look up from my smartphone and go, no, if you could just find me someplace out of the way that I can sit down and do some work, I'll be fine.
Alan, you probably should come in. You should at least meet him.
Actually, I need to check something. Let's say, we'll say I need a 10 for this. Let's see if I get a 10. I do. You're looking at your smartphone, and you're like, you've lost your signal. Like once you walked through the front doors, your cell phone signal went away. You do see wireless networks available that are not hidden. They're they broadcast through SSID, but they're all encrypted.
Yeah, I've actually cracked one before, but I have no burning desire to do it right now because it's kind of obnoxious, and it's all I do.
Anyway,
okay.
So
I've got stuff. I've got other stuff I could be doing anyway.
Okay, Charlotte and Alan go into Richard Sonak's office, and Mark Savage and John Morgan wait on one of the large comfy couches out here in this enormous waiting room that could just as easily be a ballroom. Is that correct? Do I understand correctly? Okay, cool.
That is my intention, yes.
Oh, right.
I'll be going over the information that I got from Max.
Okay, cool. Okay, so Alan and Charlotte go in, and I'll show you what Richard Sonak looks like. Because, I mean, you've seen it before, so I'll show you again anyway.
Yes, please. Like a TV done behind there?
Richard Sonak. There you go. Gray, burgundy, and white. It's a motif. Anyway, he's sitting behind his desk, which is a huge wooden edifice that's probably hundreds of years old. And he goes, "Oh, Miss Day, how are you?"
Good. How are you?
Well, I was better, and then, and he like puts his hand on his desk, and like a portion of the wood like sinks and moves apart, and like a screen comes up, and he goes, "I was having a quite nice day until this happened." And there's video of a truck careening down a road and slamming into cars and skidding around a corner, and motorcycles chasing after the truck, and a motorcycle like hits a light pole and like poof, and like spins through the air, and the motorcycle rider spins in the opposite direction through the air and like goes through a plate glass window at a pastry shop. So, care to tell me about this?
Yes, that's actually why I came in. First off, this is Alan Brennan, and yes, I've seemed to have collected him in the last couple of weeks, and we were checking out something in terms of his issues, and apparently triggered an alarm and got chased for it.
Well, I didn't know you were back in London. That would have been nice to know.
Yeah, we just showed up. We were about to, that was the next step, was to report in.
Right. Okay,
But
well, nice to meet you, Mr. Brennan.
I can give you a more precise explanation as to what happened.
Oh yes, I was going to let him explain the actual details. That's it.
I used to work for MI13 until somebody within my organization betrayed me and my team. I have been trying to find out who and why. Apparently the gentleman we were trying to spy on is the person responsible. And he seems to have a very deep cover. Very deep, and a lot of very powerful friends.
Here's the thing. I'm sure that whatever you're doing is terribly important to you. But the Templars don't get involved in ordinary politics. It's just, we've learned through experience, it's just better to avoid it.
Well, we're not
Over the long term, it all works itself out.
I'm not asking for help. I'm asking for, I guess my friends and I are asking for sanctuary. For
Yeah.
sure.
For how long?
A couple days. Maybe.
Well, I don't think that should be a problem. Just stay out of trouble while you're here. I'll have suites set up for you. Anything else?
No, not much. I'll give you I can give you a report on everything else that's been going on.
I would appreciate that.
Yep.
Well, it doesn't appear that whoever you well, it doesn't appear they followed you here, so I thank you for that.
We
Because
tried our hardest.
we could.
Penny.
It's
Now I know.
It's
better not to have that sort of problem.
Absolutely. That was not. It was our intention to not our intention to bring them to your doorstep.
Right. We don't mind if you go find trouble. We just don't want you to bring it home with you.
Of course not.
Okay. So I'll set up rooms for you. You'll give me your report, say, by the end of today.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Anything else?
That was it. Thanks, sir.
Thank you for stopping by. Nice meeting you, Mr. Brennan.
Nice to meet you.
MI13, was it?
Yes.
He, like, looks over and, like, taps a couple of spots on his desk. Interesting. Well, nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
And you show yourselves out, I assume. Meanwhile, you guys out in the waiting room area are sifting through information or just hanging out and drinking scotch. So.
That is correct, yes.
It's actually a fairly quick meeting. They're only in there a few minutes and then they come back out.
Yep.
And then?
Hey guys.
It didn't take long at all. I didn't have any time to get into any kind of trouble.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna have to suggest that if we were told we can lie low here a few days, so let's try not to cause any trouble till after we leave.
Oh, not a problem.
Besides, I've gotta go pull out my computer and that they gave me and type up a report anyway.
So what you're telling me is that my reward for getting shot is a couple of days of this scotch. Not bad. I'll take it.
I need to catch up on my data gathering anyway, so.
A young woman, a completely different young woman, but they're all young women and they're all dressed basically the same, comes up to Charlotte Day dressed like this, although instead of a clutch, she's got a rosewood tablet. Like it's a computer tablet, but the case is polished rosewood. Anyway, she comes up to Charlotte and says, Miss Day, I have the rooms for you and your guests if you follow me.
Thank you.
And she leads you on about a 15-minute walk through large hallways and up some vast curving stairs, and and eventually you are at a somewhat smaller door. It's merely huge, and she takes a small like credit card shape. It's a credit card basically. And she like waves it in front of the ornate brass antique door handle, and you hear and opens the door, and she says, "This is for Miss Day, and if the rest of you follow me, I'll show you to your suite."
Thank you.
Okay.
She hands Charlotte the little card. It's basically just a credit card with like a it's a white credit card with a red cross in it. That's really all it is. And the rest of you guys, she shows you to a different door, like just slightly down the hall, and it's like an elaborate suite at a hotel. There's four separate bedrooms, and a central area, and a bar, and a little mini kitchen, and a balcony that looks over the center courtyard of the Templar HQ.
Like James Bond meets the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Kinda. She says, if you need anything, simply pick up the phone, and someone will be with you shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I slip her a 5-spot.
In American.
Yes. Not a fiver, a 5-spot. An American.
She accepts it with grace, and as the just ordinary, average, everyday, normal thing. And she leaves the card with. Actually, Alan Brennan seems the most, how to put it?
Grown up?
Formal?
Mature?
Well,
She-
I am
she-
James Bond.
She hands the card to Alan Brennan, and
Thank you.
excuses herself and closes the door behind her.
Well, I am James Bond, effectively. Or at least I was.
Okay, there you
Oh,
go.
this is nice.
Are you just gonna lay low for a couple of days? You want to actually do something? You want to fast forward a couple of days?
Yep. Submit my yeah.
As far as my character is concerned, this is probably the first opportunity that he's had to like stop and take a deep breath and have a mild freak out, because people are trying to kill him and he's still kind of getting used to that. So yeah, I'll take-
If I'm allowed to, I might just take advantage of that occult library.
Oh yeah, wait. I got shot twice and he got shot once in this escape.
I got shot lots of times.
Yeah, you're a werewolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I allowed to take advantage of the library?
One moment. You'd have to ask Charlotte, actually. But one
Yeah.
moment. Mark Savage, you got shot, and it like bruised you very, very badly, but didn't actually like go through you or anything, if I remember correctly. Oh wait, no, you did get shot before you crystalled up.
I got
So yeah, you have a full-on gunshot wound to your leg, let's say.
I'll take care of that.
And
then, John Morgan took his shot as we were making our escape.
But I healed him during the escape.
yeah, you
Right,
have a couple
right.
of days downtime. You can simply do your magic stuff and heal him. It's not a big deal. Alan Brennan got full-on shot with bullets and bled and has bullet holes in him, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but he's in NY13 age and he's used to that.
And he's a werewolf. So basically, you take a nap, you get up, you take a shower, there's some red welts, and by the next morning, they're gone.
Yeah, I was going to say for Alan and I, it's okay, but I think this is probably John's first time getting shot.
Wait, I got shot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I healed you.
Okay, that probably explains why my character wasn't catatonic for the rest of it.
Morgan, the reason you weren't shot more than once is because I got shot. I got between you and the bullets.
That's true. I remember that.
That's very nice of you. I would never have done the same thing for you. Not in a million years.
I knew I could take it. That's why.
And I know that I can because, yeah, I probably started screaming like a little girl at that.
You probably did, and then once after you're healed, you complained about your shirt.
Oh yeah, it was one of your favorite shirts that like you can't get anymore, and there's blood. It's like soaked with blood.
Right.
It's ruined.
Yeah. Okay. Next time we go on these type of things, don't wear your favorite shirts. There we go. I wear thrift store fine, so you know.
Mark Savage's comment about the whole thing is, see, I told you getting shot stings.
Yeah, and you lied. It did not sting. It hurt like a bastard.
You get used to it.
Gonna go ahead and put getting shot on my list of things to never do again.
No, trust me, the more it happens, the more you get used to it.
Yeah, don't want to get used to it.
No. It hurt like hell. It hurt like hell. It's like dental work without Novocaine. It just hurt a whole lot.
Over the course of the next couple of days, I'm going to find out just how useful the pick up the phone and order something is.
What do you want?
Not like ordering stately yachts or anything like that, but pick up the phone and I'll start off with replacement stuff that I've got or that I need, like replacement parts or batteries or stuff like that.
If it's something you could walk into an electronics store and buy, about 20 minutes goes by and a young man dressed in like a burgundy business suit, pushing a silver cart with a dome like people bring room service in expensive hotels.
Right.
Reels it in, opens the dome, and there's your electronics.
Oh, okay.
And
I'll be like, that seems like a lot of pomp and circumstance for an Arduino set, but thanks, I appreciate that.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Is there something you'd like us to do differently?
No, not at all. You do your thing.
And is this what you asked for?
Exactly, yes.
Splendid. Thank you, sir. Good day. And he leaves.
But over the course of the next 48 hours, I'll start ramping it up, and eventually, if I can get away with it, I'm going to start ordering things like body armor.
Yeah. Good luck.
The first time you ask for anything remotely military, Charlotte's phone rings in her own apartment, and we're just going to assume for sake of argument you're in your own apartment, Charlotte, doing something else. Writing your report, for example.
Yeah.
Because that evening you spend the entire evening writing a report and you submit it to Richard Sonek, although you're not exactly sure how. So you have to call and ask.
On the computer they gave me, it's here, I open up and a report form pops up, and as soon as I get to the bottom of it, it just mysteriously disappears.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course. Yeah. It just says submit, and it just goes away into the ether somewhere. Anyway, the next morning, you get a reply from Richard Sonek, secretary, asking you to meet him at, let's say, 9 a.m.
Sounds good.
In about half hour from when you receive that. And then he goes over what you've told him, and then he asks questions, and he doesn't want you to answer them right then. He doesn't have time. But he goes over some things he wants to know more about, and he asks you to revise your report. And then you go away, and then you spend that morning and that afternoon revising your report. So you're spending a lot of time typing. Meanwhile, they're all off ordering room service. So...
And I'm not being obnoxious about it. I'm just occasionally I'll pick up the phone and say, "Oh, by the way, do you guys have Thunder Flash grenades? Can I get some?"
So the very first time he asked for that, their answer is, well, up to now their answer has been, "Yes, of course, sir. It'll be right up."
Oh,
this time says, "I'll look into that for you, sir." And
awesome.
Then you hang up, and then Charlotte's phone rings, and you have somebody asking you. One of your associates is asking for military ordnance, this particular item, and they'll describe
undercover body armor. Yeah.
They'll describe it to you, and they'll say they just need your approval.
I probably will laugh. Okay. What was he asking for? The body armor?
I'll say body armor.
Yeah.
I'll say
If I
yes to
got shot, yeah, it'd be body armor.
Okay, yeah, I can see him wanting that. He can have body armor. That's probably a good idea considering if you're willing to give it to him. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And then about 20 minutes later, guy knocks at the door with a cart, and there's actually like two guys with carts, and they come in, and this time there's not like a silver dome. It's a large linen sheet over it, and they pull that back, and it's stacked up, folded sets of body armor.
Cool.
However many you asked for. You asked for like 4, you say?
No, just one.
No, you
it's
asked
a
for
level 4.
body. Okay, never mind. Yeah,
Level,
1.
Level 4 will protect against rifle.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not. It's very good body armor, but it's
Right.
not like science fiction body armor. It's like
Right.
top of the line, real world body armor.
Like executive protection detail kind of body armor. Yeah.
I mean, it's really nice. And for what
It
it
was
is,
the
it's
nicest-
light
it was
and
the nicest
flexible.
body armor I could find online. So.
It's probably better than what you could order online,
Okay. Good.
but it's not like science fiction or anything. It's actual body armor. It looks like you can't put it on and hide it. It looks like body armor.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I guess you could depending on what you're wearing.
Like, toothbrush, razors, a new suit of clothes, some fresh
Yeah, that
socks
stuff they
for
just
underwear.
bring after you ask for it.
Yeah.
When you get from body armor to non-lethal armaments like the Thunder Flash grenade, again,
Right.
Charlotte gets a call, and they ask for her permission.
Charlie gets called for Thunder Flash grenades.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna
Flash
go.
bangs.
Okay, let me get back to you on that. I need to go next door and have a chat with these guys. Thank you for letting me know.
At your service, ma'am.
Okay. Go next door. Okay, guys, I've really got reports over here.
Believe it or not, I have not been asking for any of this stuff. I just want to see the library. And then you can give me a gun later.
If you pick up the phone, well, let's finish what she's doing about the grenades first, and then we'll talk about the library.
Well, no, this is when she came into us. That's what I told her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
Library, great idea. Okay, you two, knock it off. They call me every time you ask for anything beyond the normal stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll hold off on this sonic deterrent system then.
Make a list, and then we'll present it at once.
Well, they've got a visual one too. It's like a strobe light that blinds people, but you can actually wear a polarized face mask that matches the frequency of the light, so you can see through it, but nobody else can.
That sounds awesome.
Cool. See, check it out. I'll show her the videos.
Okay, now just to be sure, they haven't called you about the 6 different types of single malt scotch and the prime rib dinner.
No.
No.
Then I'll keep ordering those.
Yeah. I will ask. I will call and order like a replacement clothing, like basics.
Oh yeah, we're not far from Seville Row. I'm getting a nice suit.
Don't forget the library.
I'm getting a suit that'll make people look at me and say, "Would the defendant please rise?"
So at some point during the day, then.
Okay. After
Let me do this one thing, and then we'll back to you, and then we'll back to them. At some point during the day, a elderly man with a measuring tape around his neck and 2 middle-aged men in tow, who are clearly his helpers, come in and measure Mark Savage and drape things over him, and they show him swatches of cloth, and the whole thing takes like 3 hours, and then they leave.
Yeah, I got a couple of nice suits and shirts.
And who all orders clothes? Is Charlotte? You said you were, right?
Yeah, but when I do it, it's like, okay, these are the exact brands for certain things, and then the rest is just these sizes.
Okay, anybody who orders clothes also gets a set of luggage. It's like, and the
nice.
people who bring the clothes will say, "Oh, We notice you arrived without luggage, ma'am, or sir. We took the liberty of furnishing these. If the color or style is not to your liking, we can get you something else.
Yeah, our last overnight bags kind of got blown up.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Much appreciated.
At your service, ma'am. And they leave. So, on to what you were doing.
Yes.
Just
Okay.
want to throw that in there.
After he asks for the library, I picked up the phone. I was like, "Can I get somebody to escort Mr. Alan? Huh? Sorry, Brendan to the library, please."
Which library would that be, ma'am?
The occult. I have no idea if you have more than one. Just pick one you think he'll be interested in.
Well, it's a delicate situation, ma'am. You see, Mr. Brennan's not a member of the Templars, so...
Okay.
Then can I discuss the joining of the Templars so I can use the library?
I think he wants to join the Templars. And I thought he mentioned that.
Shopping for a new...
I think Mr. Sonic... I think Mr. Sonic should talk to you about that, ma'am.
Absolutely. Are there any readings that he's allowed to see?
Oh, actually, yes. The Clinton Davis Library. He can look at that. That's open to guests of memberships. Yes.
Okay, that'll work.
Excellent. I just want to keep him at least one of them busy.
Yeah, it's either that or I start ordering guns.
After a while, a young woman with a rosewood tablet shows up to escort Mr. Brennan to the Clinton Davis Library.
Thank you.
It's like a 20-minute walk, and it's down several stairs, and it's huge, and it smells like a library.
Lovely.
Now we can start just looking for things.
Yes, I'm sure in at least one of my reports, it's mentioned that he wants to that Alan wanted to join, and yeah, I'm an MD who works with corpses. I'm kind of used to forms and reports.
When you turn in your report, you get a reply back from Richard Sonic saying, report accepted, thank you. See me at your earliest convenience regarding Mr. Brennan.
Alright. Ask the secretary when is his earliest convenience, because obviously I need to...
later that afternoon, like at 2.
Perfect. Yep. Give him a bottle of good steak, please. No, well, thank you. Go on it.
Okay, great. You go in. Sonic welcomes you, makes small talk, offers you tea, tiny little triangular sandwiches. So, about this Mr. Brennan with you. Are you aware that he... Well, you know that he was with MI13, yes?
Correct. Yeah.
Are you familiar with the circumstances under which he left that organization?
Yes, I thought that was in the... Would that have been in my report at this point? Because I thought I was covering everything since I left.
Oh, you covered all of that in the report? Everything you know? Okay. Right. Well, according to our resources, Mr. Brennan's team violated State Secrets Act, and for that reason was burned, as they say in that profession. And he was the only one to survive, which is either speaks very well of him or doesn't. So...
What was that the one where we were involved? This is me asking, not her.
Yes, the country estate of Sir Miles Delacourt, where like you went back, and like his team was all dead, and then you disrupted some kind of cult thing having to do with Planet Nibiru, like opening up a portal to Planet Nibiru and bring around the end of the world.
And apparently those portals do not like lizard man plasma rifles.
Something like that. Yes.
Yes, I agree.
No, he doesn't blink an eye at that.
Yeah.
That part he doesn't even question you about.
Yeah.
Where he has a problem with, and he'll put it point blank. What I have a problem with is here's someone who whether it's true or not, and I understand he says it's not true, but his entire he and his team were suspected of violating state secrets, and as a result, his entire team died, but he didn't, and I find that suspicious and a bit troubling.
Yep. I haven't completely taken him at, at face value either. I'm just simply stating the fact that he had mentioned interest in joining. I understand if you wanted to find out more about him before accepting him or not accepting him. Of course, that's all your decision.
Now, according to your report, he approached you after this happened.
Hmm?
Has he ever mentioned the Templars to you before today?
Had he? I'm. No. Nope. Okay. Everybody's saying no.
No.
Nope. Nope.
Nope.
Right. So, you don't think it's likely then that he's using you to gain access to the Templars for a third party?
No, I don't think so.
To infiltrate us?
No, I don't believe so. No, not that nothing has pointed to that so far. He seems much more. He hadn't even mentioned the Templars until we mentioned it, and we were already basically coming here so I could do my report and decide whether we're going to stay here for a bit or keep going to another hiding place.
Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to tell him that we'll accept him as a member and move on from there. But between you and me, I think there's a good chance that he's an agent. He's been sent and set this up to infiltrate the organization. So I'd like you to keep an eye on him. And should his behavior seem unusual, I want you to bring it to my attention as soon as possible.
Of course.
And we're not going to give him access to the... and he names like 3 other libraries for now.
Understandable.
Right. All right, then. Thank you.
Thank you.
The phone rings in the other suite you guys are all sharing, and the lady on the phone asks for Mr. Alan Brennan.
And I'll go. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Sunek would like to see you this afternoon if you have the time. Would 3:15 work for you?
Fine, I've got all the time in the world right now.
Splendid. I'll tell him to expect you.
Mm-hmm.
So you go.
Somebody's going to escort you, right?
Yeah. Somebody shows up at like 3:02, knocks on the door, walks you to the other side of the building where this guy's office is, and gestures you in. And he says, Mr. Brennan, Miss Day has recommended that we accept you into the Templars.
I'd appreciate it. I've got no work right now.
You realize this is not simply a job.
Oh. Look, I was very, very dedicated to my former job. I believed in what I did. I still do. I need to have a place to focus that belief. Huh. And since they betrayed me, I don't have a place right now.
Why do you suppose they betrayed you?
I don't know. That's why we're trying to investigate this gentleman who almost got us killed.
Oh, that would be Rupert Carrington.
Yes. And he seems to have a very nice apartment for some little paper-pushing weenie.
Right, I saw that in Miss Day's report. All right. We don't want to get in. We, the Templars, do not want to get involved in this particular.
I don't want to get involved in this. I do not. This is mine. This is totally mine.
Right.
I just need to focus for what I do.
How about we, on a probationary basis, accept you as an associate member? Let's say we'll give you access to some support and logistics. We'll withhold some of the more sensitive areas of the building, establishment, whatever. And
Out of character, does this fellow seem to be very trustworthy and somebody?
you can make a roll.
What? Make a roll? Okay.
Sure.
Because being a military person and somebody in MI13, I'm probably in a good judgment.
That'd be a werewolf.
I guess my total would be 10.
He seems to be.
Yeah, well, I do it all.
He doesn't seem to be using like weasel words like a politician does. He seems to be speaking matter of factly about things, which lends him an air of trustworthiness from your point of view.
Well, I've heard a lot of things about the Knights Templar and
Oh, we don't. It's just the Templars.
Templars. I've heard a lot of good things about the Templars, and Miss Day speaks very highly of you. I'm willing to trust you with a certain secret in return for your trusting me.
Well, let's hold off on that for now.
Are you sure?
For now, why don't we just accept you provisionally as an associate member until
Alright.
you've resolved this issue with MI13, and then we can revisit it and see
Alright.
where we stand at that time.
Now, I'll agree to that. That sounds reasonable. I definitely agree.
Lovely. We have some equipment for you if you'd like it. You're not required to use it. Miss Day doesn't, other than the laptop. And but you know,
I use some of it.
why not?
I use some of it. I just don't use things like the purse.
Does some of this equipment involve guns?
Actually, what kind of, as far as if someone were to look at Alan's service record, like what kind of weapons historically did he favor?
He probably sniper a little bit. Your standard if you went into combat thing that would give you a good chance of hitting your enemy.
Okay.
Some pistols because he would want to carry when he's out and about.
Okay. One moment. I gotta say goodnight to my kitty cat and my Susan.
Okay. Tell Susan good night too.
Yes.
Good night, sweetie. They all say good night. Okay. He says, well then, until let's hope the next time we meet you've resolved your problems,
I hope
and
so.
we can see where we stand. In the meantime, this young lady will show you to the equipment that is part of the package, so to speak.
Okay.
And a young woman leads you out into the hallway and into the big meeting room, and then down another hallway into like. Do you remember the beginning of Escape from New York, where like they're walking Snake Plissken through a hallway, and then there's like a room, and there's a big table with guns all across it? Yeah, it's kind of like that, but not that elaborate. There's a dark burgundy leather knee-length coat. There's a sniper rifle, a pair of pistols, just a shoulder harness, and there's a wallet that has some cards in it, and there's some other like miscellaneous sundry stuff. Kind of like the beginning of a James Bond movie, actually.
Yeah. She will notice he's looking at the guns like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah. But the whole thing has kind of like a Q giving James Bond his gadgets kind of a vibe.
Okay. Pretty much, he'll take the rifle, he'll take the pistols, he'll take the shoulder harness thing, because that's what he wore anyway, probably. He likes the coat. Definitely likes the coat. But yeah, he'll probably pick up everything there.
Cool.
And he's going to go through the military thing of looking at that rifle. Take it apart, pull out the magazine, the whole 9 yards.
It's whatever the current state-of-the-art of sniper rifles is. It's like some kind of 50 caliber thing, single shot.
He's impressed.
Thing. It's not the sort of thing you can walk down the street carrying.
Oh,
I mean, it's fucking huge.
That's what the pistols are for. Does it come apart, by the way, into a suitcase?
She gestures at the second table where there's like essentially a long. It's shaped like an instrument case. Like it's shaped like you put a French horn in it or something. You know, it's kind of like at one end. But you open it up and it's all these little compartments of foam that you disassemble the rifle and put them in and then close it up.
Somebody knows I am a musician.
Anyway, and then she shows you back to the suite where you guys are staying. What's left over? Who else has unresolved issues?
Information that Max sent me. Have I managed to figure out or collate it and figure out what's going on with it?
Yes! There is... It's been so long since I've looked at this, I've kind of forgot about it. I need to... One moment while I look back to my earliest notes, because... Let's see. What was I'm positive I had a note about it. There is a... I gotta find the state. Do I at least have the... Let's see. No. Oh, I did find it. Awesome. I had a note. Yay. Ah. There are clusters of these purchases that are otherwise innocuous purchases, but they all are connected to like the same businesses, and like they're the business credit card of like a stationery company or coat hanger manufacturing company, like just random innocuous businesses. And they're like clusters of these purchases for like food or gasoline, or they're just like dull. It's like dull everyday purchases. But there is like a halo around the Colorado-New Mexico border where these things are exceptionally heavy, these purchases. So you would think that the conclusion is that whoever's doing this stuff spends a lot of time around the Colorado-New Mexico border.
All right. Start backtracking the purchases to see where they go to. See if the organizations that are, you said they're all business credit cards, so
yeah.
See what the businesses are supposedly a front for.
Let's see. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, they're all around the Jicarilla Apache Nation Reservation in New Mexico. Jicarilla Reservation. Jicarilla. Or Jicarilla?
I think Jicarilla sounds right.
Jicarilla. What's the closest like big town? Let me look. See if I see like some place I recognize. I don't recognize. This is the middle of nowhere. I don't recognize anything. Oh, there's also a Navajo reservation, but that's a little further away, and a Southern Ute reservation, which is a little north. But these are mainly all around the Jicarilla reservation. Oh, San Antonio, Colorado. Okay, well that's not where I'm looking for.
I was gonna say the Ute reservation down near Albuquerque. I went there to go gambling one time.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'll show you a map. Hang on. Just to give you like an idea what I'm looking at. Okay, there you go. Like Chromo, Colorado, and Chama, New Mexico, and Dulce, New Mexico, and Brazos, New Mexico, and Navajo City, New Mexico. Like these places all around this area. Anyway, so that's the deal there. The businesses appear to be completely unspectacular businesses. They are dull in every way. They are not particularly large businesses. They have offices in various parts of the USA. Like there's like the coat hanger manufacturer has offices in San Diego and in a couple of other cities. The stationery manufacturing company is headquartered in Colorado, and then also has offices in Kansas and Minnesota. You know, like that.
Yep, I was right. It's Jicarilla.
Okay. Chicarilla,
Picaria.
Apache Nation Reservation.
Okay.
His little basket.
All right, so it's a number of innocuous business credit card transactions from a number of innocuous small businesses
Yes.
whose only real point of familiarity is the fact that they're all based around an Apache Indian reservation.
Well, the purchases are.
Yeah.
The actual businesses themselves are not anywhere near here.
Oh, okay. Well, that does stand out as a little bit odd then. But the purchases themselves are all for just mundane shit, right? Like, gas and food and hotel
Yes.
rooms and stuff like that.
That is correct. And one other thing, you've heard of Dolce Base? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's like pretty much in the middle of that halo of purchases that are focused in this area. So there's that.
Yeah, that was way back a while.
That had to do with the when Hermes had you looking into what was going on in that town in Virginia, or was it
North
West
Carolina.
Virginia? Oh, North Carolina. Okay.
No, Virginia.
No,
Oh, was it
Scottsville. Scottsville, Virginia. And you found out that it really wasn't a whole lot going on there.
Nope.
And then Mark Savage got abducted by aliens. And somebody
Yeah.
tried to talk you out of investigating whatever was going on there. Unsuccessfully. And let's see what else happened. Oh,
we
and then you
found
went to New York and started pissing off the Illuminati. And
We
things,
also found out that a test pilot's hometown there, he had vanished.
that's correct. Yes, I
And
remember
his
that.
son, who was also a test pilot, had vanished.
Yes. I think.
And then,
Oh, yeah.
and then the Illuminati annoyed us again, so I went to get a pick on them.
Yeah, and then you went to Fort Dodge Labs, where one guy from that town worked, or was a head of R&D, and
Sure.
you ran into some suspicious goings on there, and that was the first time that National Defense Directorate tried to do something. They
Run us
chased
down.
you and you got away. That's the first time they showed up. Anyway,
But yeah, as I recall, one of the pilots disappeared or was from the Dolce base. So, we should probably go and investigate that.
And it's back to Colorado. You know,
Well, London's kind of hot right now, so let's go someplace else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but
oh,
while we're here, Brandon, I'll
my
do
God.
some research and see what I can find out, if anything, about Rupert Carrington.
Wait a second. Oh my goodness, I spent the night in Dolce one night. I remember where 64 took that weird turn right in the middle of the town, right by the motel I stayed at. And US Highway 64 takes that weird southward turn right at Dolce. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I've been there. Okay. Anyway,
Rupert Carrington.
sorry.
Yes.
I know it was in Bloomfield that I spent the night, but I had to drive through Dolce to get there. So yeah, I've been there. Anyway, sorry.
He went to some respectable school, and he got a job with the Department of Health. He received several promotions. His bank account, as far as you can tell, reflects what he would actually be paid for doing what he does. So it's not like, as far as you can tell, it's not like he's got like a slush fund of millions of pounds. So how he's living in the Nine Elms apartment building is a bit of a mystery. But he does. I mean, it's in his name and everything.
Mhm.
So, let's see. If you want to do some like real digging, roll some dice.
Yep.
He has no criminal record at all.
Oh, rolled an 11.
Spectacular.
That would be, yes, one point away from max.
He has no criminal record. However, he has been arrested.
Okay.
He was. What's like the most embarrassing thing that somebody could be arrested for in like a pseudo political position?
Pedophilia?
Yeah, I was thinking that too. That's too gross. Something.
Prostitution.
Something bad. Prostitution. There you go.
I was going to say soliciting a prostitute. Yep.
No, being arrested for soliciting as a prostitute.
Oh. God.
Sure. There you go.
Normal for men to be
So
prostitutes.
he was, while he was going to university, while he was in school, he was arrested or detained. He was detained for solicitation. The charges were never formally filed, but the record of the incident still exists in the police file, so that's how you find it. But
Okay.
the charges were never formally filed against him, and he was released.
I think I know why. They're doing whatever he's doing now.
And then after he graduated, like he left university, and like the next week went to work at Department of Health.
Yep. They offered him something he couldn't refuse, basically.
Oh, he also has a very nice car. I don't know what it would be offhand. Some Jaguar, maybe.
Aston Martin DB5.
Not quite that elaborate, but I mean, outside his beyond his means.
More like a Vantage.
It is whatever it is. It's not a $2 million car, but it is well beyond his means, and it is in his name, and it was paid for in cash.
All right. Hello, darling.
Hi, Beth.
Brendan says hi. Beth says hi.
It was really nice seeing you guys, by the way.
It was, yes.
Okay.
I would probably be down for a visit to my mother sometime in February. Just to let you know.
Cool. I've got a present for you.
Yay. Anyway, any information I can find out about Carrington, I will pass it along to those interested parties.
Okay.
In which case, you get my answer. It sounds like he was made an offer he couldn't refuse.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Somebody recruited him out of college.
Well, it was either that or go to prison, probably.
Well, either that or, have a completely and utterly career-destroying embarrassment on your record for the rest of your life, yeah.
Yes.
So yeah,
Okay.
he's somebody's hand puppet. I haven't dug deep enough to figure out who he's actually speaking for.
So, what's your next move? Are you going to talk to him or follow him? Or actually, judging from what happened last time, following him may not be the best idea.
Yeah.
But
The reaction tended to be loud and violent.
it was noisy. Yeah, it's noisy. So following him might not work, but you do know where he lives. Alternately, there are other dangling threads you could go look into. You could just go cause random havoc for the Illuminati if you really felt up to that. Or speaking of which, you've been here like 3 days at this point. So there's a cha-ching on John Morgan's phone,
Okay.
I love that.
and You get a deposit for like $714,000, which then you
Okay.
start routing various places.
Yes.
And this time, none of them get refused. None of the transactions fail.
Okay.
When last time, half of them did.
Hmm.
Just throwing that out there.
I'd be suspicious.
I might
When wouldn't you be suspicious?
Well, at this point, Brandon, I'll go ahead and leak it to the press and tie the whole thing back to Orochi Group to make it look like they're running some kind of fraudulent scheme through QBL Media, like money laundering or something like that. Cut down all the accounts and reroute the money to different places again.
Okay.
So make sure that everybody in the media knows.
Roll some kind of
Just make sure
finagling.
that they don't know that I did it.
Make some kind of money laundering roll.
Okay. Let's see. I got a 10.
So your total would be what, 13?
Either 13 or 15. Yeah, depending on which one you want me to use.
Okay. When you try to move things out of the accounts you've just moved them into, you find that about 3/4 of those are frozen.
Oh, you bastards!
Yeah, but you still got some of it.
Oh yeah, I know.
We've whirled away several accounts with $1 million each way before that.
Yeah, it's a safe bet that at this point you've got at least 3 or 4 million squirreled away that, as far as you know, nobody's found.
Right.
Which is not bad.
Okay. Then I'll anonymously let the SEC know that these accounts are fraudulent and that they can be traced back to the. Let's see, who's it going to be? Let them know that they can be traced back to QBL Media. Oh, I am so fired.
It's not front page news. It's like, well, who reads newspapers anymore? But if people read newspapers,
Right.
it would be like several pages deep into the newspaper in like the business section.
Yeah, it doesn't involve a nice juicy scandal. So.
Yeah, SEC investigation continues, QBO Media, blah, blah, blah. Possible indictment for this Treasury person or this person or that person. And that's, unless you follow up on it later, that's probably all you hear about it.
Okay.
Okay, pretty good.
Do you follow up on it later? I'm just curious.
I have no plans to, but something may come to mind. So at the moment, just let it die. And if nothing else, I can always use it as a nice juicy scandal to add to somebody later if I'm trying to frame them.
All right. Missed you by that much.
I knew that they were closing in. I knew they were.
Okie dokie. So now what? You guys have been here for several days. No one has made any indication that you're wearing out your welcome. But, I mean, honestly, how long can you stay in just luxurious suites, ordering, filet mignon and drinking $3,000 bottles of scotch?
I might point out that since we are obviously dealing with something rather difficult, we may want to stay off of my problem for a little while until we can figure out a way to be able to be unseen, totally and completely.
Now, Brandon, that was a rhetorical question, right?
For him, anyways.
What do you mean?
How long can we sit here eating filet mignon and sipping good scotch?
For you, maybe, yeah.
I'm getting bored.
After a few months, I'm definitely going to get bored of it. But
I'm bored now. We can leave.
Yeah.
After 3 days, the imp of the perverse is going to start to take over for me, and I'm going to start screwing with the stuff around me. So probably
I did ask him to
get me out of here before I get you in trouble.
Yeah.
okay.
I did ask you to behave while we were here. I'm not going to ask you to stay long enough where that becomes
It starts to become a problem. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, Alan Brennan.
Yes.
Make some kind of spy roll. Like,
Let's see.
because if you something's going to happen if you guys do a certain thing. And I'm gonna
11.
give you
Total is
Oh.
11.
a total or just the roll?
The total is 11. Total is
Total.
11.
That is fine. 10 is good. This is a fairly reasonably obvious thing. Where I'll do some platonic dialogue with you. In whatever's going on, how far up in that hierarchy do you imagine Rupert Carrington is?
I think he's, like I said, I think he was offered a deal he couldn't refuse. So I don't think he's really high up. I think he's somebody who owes a favor for not getting embarrassed.
Okay.
Or he could have liked it and then worked it
Well, yeah, he might have.
Well, he's
liked
still
it.
young. He's only been there like 5-6 years, so it's not like.
Still,
I'll be back in about 5 minutes.
All right.
I'm guessing he's still more of a servant than a master.
Okay.
Maybe a
So
higher
let's
level
say-
servant, but
Let's say hypothetically, you
Yeah.
are an uppity up in a secret society of some sort that has, an army basically at your beck and call.
Mhm.
And somebody at Rupert Carrington's level, you know that somebody outside the organization has their eye on him. What would you do? Let's say he knows things about
he
you.
knows a lot of things, then I'd either get rid of him or I'd get rid of those that are interested in him.
Well, let's say you tried that, but they've gone to ground and you can't find them.
He's going to end up dead soon. I'm betting.
Okay, that's a pretty. I think that's a pretty realistic estimate of what's going to happen
Mhm.
to Rupert Carrington in the next few days.
Because I don't think he's up enough in the organization that they'll value him enough to keep him. So,
Just throwing that out there.
now the thing is I'm also pretty sure that they don't know I was involved in this. Otherwise, they'd still be looking. Because they obviously wanted us dead for some reason. And since I was the commander, it's probably mostly, well, it was that one guy I know for sure that they wanted dead. So they took the rest of us to go with him. But they may or may not know that I was part of this spying thing. The trick is trying to find out who they are without the link of Rupert Carrington. So we will have to look into his solicitous past.
or going after him sooner rather than later.
Sooner rather than later, yeah. In other words, tell him he better come with us if he wants to live. Yeah, his house sounds like a good idea.
Oh, if he's in that deep, you can't tell him that.
Yeah, true.
I don't know. There's something to be said for reaching up with the car, throwing open the door, and just saying, "Come with me if you want to live."
Yeah.
Not too many people sit there deliberating what they're going to do at this point. They either bolt like a rabbit or jump in the car.
Yes, but that requires us finding him on the street.
Well, yeah, that's
His house is probably the best bet. And my guess is that if he doesn't come with us, we might have to be a little forceful.
But if his office that he probably doesn't even use is being that heavily watched.
We don't want to go there.
I'm not saying how heavily watched is his home.
That's true. Well, here's a question. How far can you astral travel? We know what his place looks like from the outside. How close do you need to be to get there without...
I'll let Brandon to say, but I'm presuming that distance is relative, but I have to know where. But probably have to roll better than usual to do a longer distance.
Because I'm thinking before we leave here, you might want to go to his apartment astrally. That way, we're not in a vehicle that can be noticed by somebody like we were before.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's not really a whole lot she can do astrally.
No, I can just view.
You can find out if he's home.
Well, you could find out if he's there. And maybe look for a way we can get in without being seen. That's
I could certainly do some checking around to see what kind of data is coming and going from that building.
That would help if there's cameras and stuff like that.
Well, not only that, but if he's working for a super secret clandestine organization, then chances are there's probably they've got some sort of pipeline running to and from his apartment.
Yeah, that's a good thing to know.
I could see what's there.
Come on, kitty.
No.
Come on.
Very bad.
Come on, Vixen. What you doing? Want to say hi? Hello.
Yes, hello, kitty.
Aww.
Little kitty. Hello, little kitty. My little kitty sitting next to me. Oh, look at that pretty baby.
Okay, so what's your actual plan?
We want to see if there's a way to get into this place and see if he's actually still there.
I think starting with Lloyd's plan first, and him trying to scan it would be best. I mean, I can go try, to do it from here. I can, like I said, I would imagine for astrally, its distance is not nearly as important as knowing where I'm going.
Yeah, I think that sounds reasonable.
Because I mean, we did drive past the building, but that was as far I just want to know where the building is.
Yeah, well, John Morgan has found like his actual apartment number, so he can actually show you where in the building it is.
Yeah, that's it.
So it shouldn't be. I wouldn't think, under ordinary circumstances, that it'd be a problem for you to find the apartment.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And like you say, having an image in your mind of where you're going is more relevant than how far away it is.
Yeah. So I could try that, especially since we're waiting for Lloyd to get back.
Sure, go ahead. Roll some dice.
Find out if he's there and find out if we can get in without being seen.
Hard. There are the 3 on the dice plus 4. That's only 7.
Total 7.
Total 7.
Not good.
Not good.
You are lost in the building.
Hey, I'm ready to the building.
And she's gone for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes or so, and then she opens her eyes and you would just wound up going in circles in this building.
Oh dear. Well, maybe get a rest and try again.
Yeah, you can try again, sure.
Yeah. See if I can do better this time.
I mean, nobody appeared to have noticed you.
Without having a vehicle outside the building, we might get away with this.
I rolled a 9 on the dice, so that's 12. No, 13.
13 total?
Yep.
That's much better. Let me see what the bad guys roll. Ooh. That's actually quite good. I think I rolled the same thing you did. Okay, here's what happens. You orient yourself once you get there, and you find the apartment you're looking for, and you see the guy. You've seen a picture of him, and he's there. He's sitting on a couch. He's watching a widescreen TV and drinking a beer or wine or something. I don't know. What do English people drink? Do they drink beer at home? I don't know.
Depends on how hoity-toity you are.
Maybe just tea. I don't know.
Actually, England, he might be drinking ale. He probably might be drinking ale. It's England.
Gin and tonic.
Gin and tonic. That sounds like his speed. So yeah, he's got a glass next to him. Could be Sprite, could be gin and tonic. I don't know. Anyway, he's watching a widescreen TV, and so you found him. He's definitely home. You look around the apartment. He's definitely alone. He's got a great view, by the way, of the river. But you're there, and all of a sudden, you feel like you're being watched.
Oh dear.
I think she'd be able to tell if his drink had gin in it or not. Because in the astral form, she can see spirits.
Hilarious. Hilarious. Kitty
Well,
cat says hello.
That tells us how they discovered us.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
obviously have
but here's the deal. You rolled pretty well, so you know what noticed you. In the apartment, like there's a shelf with a couple of knickknacks. One of the knickknacks is like a little sculpture of a man or a frog or something squatting, and it is looking at you. The little sculpture is.
So they obviously have magic.
Yeah. Okay. I won't go any. Don't spend any more time in there. Hey, we know
The guy watching TV is oblivious. He doesn't know you're there at all. He's just watching TV.
I know, but now they know that he's been checked on again.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you check that building out and see if there's any way to get in and out before you come home? You know?
I guess I could do that because they weren't caring if I was checking out the building. They were just caring if I was checking out the apartment.
In most respects, it seems like a pretty ordinary, if very expensive, apartment building.
Yeah.
50 stories tall. He's in like the 23rd story, like halfway up.
Is it like, can you just walk into the into it, or do you have to have like? Is there security at the beginning?
There's security, but it's not like, armed security. It's like a doorman kind of security.
Yeah.
And you need to have a card, a key card, to actually live there to make the elevators work, or call up and have the person, turn the elevator on for you, like buzz you in, that kind of deal. Otherwise, you can't get past the lobby.
So we need to swipe the RFID signal off of somebody on the floor.
Meanwhile, John Morgan
Sir.
was looking for cameras and stuff, right?
I'm looking for data pipelines coming and going in and out of the building.
Okay. Data pipelines. Interesting. Roll some dice. Tell me what you get.
I just made that phrase up. I have no idea what it means.
Sounded good to me.
I rolled an 8. So at 3, it's 11.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, it's not anything exotic. Most of the cameras in and around the building, of which there are numerous cameras. Like there's one in every elevator, there's one in every hallway, there's one in the stairwells, on every floor. There's cameras everywhere. But they all feed to an office on the second floor. So that's pretty much how that goes.
Security.
Okay.
Except for several floors in a clump, like from the 18th to the 26th floor, let's say.
Right.
Those have twice as many cameras, and about half of them feed outside, somewhere else.
Ah,
Really?
Yes.
that's what you're looking for.
Curiously enough, you know which apartment he's in.
Right.
No cameras there.
Okay.
Not that you can find, anyway. I mean,
Okay.
there is data going in and out, but it's like Netflix, It's
Right.
not anything weird.
He doesn't have any Internet of Things devices?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. The washing machine, the refrigerator, the toaster, the oven, the thermostat. Those things are all wired into like the whole building smartness.
Okay. All right, Brennan. I own him. You want me to gaslight him or what?
Oh, I don't know what. Well, we need to get in. Is what we need to get him in, get in, and get him out.
Oh, getting in is not a problem. Getting out may be a little dicey.
Mm.
Whoever is doing the surveillance, let me see if I can track that where that surveillance is going to. Brendan, can I find out where the 18 through 26 floor CCTV routes to?
Roll some dice. Let's find out.
Okay. Dice roll is a 7. So 10. Engineering, network engineering.
10 total? Yeah, 10.
Yeah.
10's all you need. I mean, it's not. You're not actually reading the data itself. You're just following the packets.
Right.
And that they have to go somewhere. They're going to Skipton House, which is the offices of the Department of Health.
Wow.
All right. So apparently, the entire Department of Health is rooted, and the entire place is a cover for something else.
Right.
Either that, or the Department of Health in England is really evil. Take a pick.
Here you go, Skipton House. That's where the Department of Health offices are.
Wait, isn't that the parking garage you guys got shot up at?
No, that's where he works. That's where Carrington works in the second sub basement.
He stopped that and hid in an alleyway and then got shot at.
Well, that's interesting. But yet his apartment itself is not what his floor is. His floor apparently is.
Yes. Well, actually, the 18 through the 26 floors are being monitored, except for his apartment. Are there any other apartments in that block of floors that are not being monitored?
Let me see. Let's see if I do 7 or less. Ooh, wow. Okay. No, every apartment on those floors. Here's the deal. Here's the odd thing, or an odd thing. There are a number of odd things going on. Every apartment has at least one camera that feeds into the security system. It's right up by the front door. So, like, when you go to call somebody to, say you're visiting somebody, and you go to the elevator, and there's like a kiosk kind of a thing with a big screen, you can call somebody, and you see their picture. They're looking at you. You're looking at them, and they say, "Oh, Bob, sure." And then the elevator doors open. You can come up. From the 18th to 26th floors, those cameras have been disabled.
Okay.
Interesting.
Are there other cameras in the apartments in
No,
the 18th?
not that you found. No.
Okay. But there is surveillance all over the 18th through 26th floor, just not in the apartments.
That's correct.
Okay.
Oh, also not on the balconies, because in case you are curious about that.
Well, that sounds more like what our friend Mock Savage can do with his lead. Perhaps.
What am I to do now?
Does this particular footprint look kind of familiar, like the place that we saw in Philadelphia, Brandon?
No.
Okay, so it does not look like the Illuminati's setup.
No.
Okay.
These are really nice apartments, but it doesn't have like the lavish overconsumption tackiness level.
Overconsumption sort of look about it.
Yeah, this is more like really, really classy expensive rather than really, really tacky expensive. This is $300 bottle of scotch expensive rather than $1,000 bottle of cheap champagne expensive.
House of Windsor rather than House of Kardashian. Yes.
Yeah. So what can you do?
I was thinking Waldorf Astoria rather than Trump Tower.
Okay. Well, there's the information. He orders washing up liquid once a month.
The trick is going to be getting in and then getting out safely with him. That's what we need to do.
However, guys, it does seem like it's about to stop. It does seem like he is being magically watched. There was a figurine that clearly saw me, when I went in to take a peek. But he's in there.
If another person has magical defenses.
Gee, I wonder if that's how we got caught at the other place.
I didn't see it, but I might not have sensed it the last
Well, the
time.
thing is, how would they have associated you with our van? That's what I'm wondering. They may have detected you in there, but how would they have connected you with the van? Unless they can see the silver cord.
Good question. It just could have been, like they're just, we're looking for anything out of the ordinary. And I might, like I said, I might not have detected it when I was in the office.
That's possible.
All right, well, up to you guys. If you want, I can, try and penetrate further and see what else I can find out about this place. But from a purely mundane tech point of view, it's interesting, but it doesn't look like there's anything particularly esoteric about the place.
Well, after the fiasco at the place of work, I don't want to take any chances.
No, I wouldn't want to either. We need more information, and unfortunately, I don't know if I can get you anymore.
Yeah.
Templar HQ in London, in case you want to know what that looked like.
They pay extra for the sunset, don't they?
Here's something to keep in mind. From the time Charlotte started looking around inside Skipton House to the time guys in black armor started surreptitiously surrounding you was about 15 minutes.
Oh, just out of curiosity, Brandon, where are we doing this? Because I would have picked a very neutral spot to run the penetration.
My understanding was you were as far as you could get from it, and while not making it difficult for Charlotte. So
Okay.
I'm thinking you're across the river,
Yeah.
and like
in a hotel.
in the parking lot of a hotel or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because like we don't want it falling back. Because I didn't know.
We don't want to go back to the Knights Temple
Yeah.
now.
Because when you were watching, you were like across the street from Skipton House when you got attacked that last time. Like literally across the street. Parked on the street with a lot of other normal cars that are also parked there. Lots of people walking around. No reason for anybody to think it's unusual, but somebody did.
All right. Well, once Charlotte mentions that she's been made, I would suggest that we get the hell out of here.
Yes.
Yeah.
As soon as I'm out of there.
Okay, let's go.
So you drive around. No one, as far as you know, is following you. Certainly no one on black motorcycles with machine guns mounted on them comes after you. And you drive around for a bit. What's your plan?
Get us close to Agartha, and then let's come to some conclusions as to where we want to go next. I'm assuming that Savage is driving.
Yeah.
Make a roll, Savage. Because people are still looking for you.
I'm assuming we've changed vehicle. I would assume we would probably have changed vehicles. Wouldn't we have?
5, 6, 7, 8 total.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
You roll terrible. They roll terrible. You drive past each other. Neither of you notices.
5 minutes later, I'll go, were we looking for a black van?
It's like this black military van drives by a bread truck, and 10 minutes later, the guy's in black. Oh, wait. Does that bread truck look odd to you?
Yeah, I can see
it. But yeah, you it's safe to assume you got another car just because to be paranoid.
Brendan, how did you get my cat?
Kitty, kitty.
Oh, sweetie.
Or,
Mine's being particularly bratty right now.
well, yeah, Simon Dale.
She just wants to hang out and be warm. Okay, so do something.
How old is she?
Hmm?
How old is she? She looks like a kitten. She's just-
Well, how old are you? Like around 6? I think she's around 6. Hey! All right, that's enough.
Apparently that was the wrong question to ask.
Apparently, doesn't like being asked about her age. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you got to talking about a woman's age.
Mean old cat. All right.
No, this is what I get for
Does anybody have any ideas how we can get into this building, get him and get out?
Do something.
Hey, now I have the black cat.
There you go. It's magic. Now you got it.
First in one camera, now in the other.
Yeah, I don't think the building is the easiest place to extract him.
And we
All
have
right.
to when he moves,
Well, how would you get him out of the building?
or get him out of the building, yeah.
Well, why would we want to get him?
Get him coming out of the gym or the deli or the... his
Yeah, but when do we know where he's going to go these places? Because we'd have to watch the building. The problem is, and that would necessitate getting caught.
How about we wait for him to drive off on his car, plant a tracker on his car, figure out where he goes, grab him coming out of one of the places that he goes.
The trick is figuring out which is his car and getting that tracker on his car without him coming out, because we don't know when he's going to come out.
We actually know what his car is. You found that out already.
Yeah,
Yeah, we know his car. The question is, why do we want to grab this guy?
because he's a connection to whoever wanted to kill my unit.
Well, let's
Made up all this crap about
let's
it.
figure out some more. We know that the entire Department of Health is at Skipton House is compromised, so we need to start rummaging around their information now.
Yeah, but he's going to die. I don't feel. I wouldn't feel right.
Well, that's up to you. That's up to you guys. You're the experts at the whole making people die thing. I'm still trying to find out information. So it just strikes me as really inefficient to kidnap the guy if we can steal his shit instead.
Well, we can look around Skipping House and see what else we can find there. But like I said, he's the best source of information because he knows what my team member knew that they wanted to kill the rest of us for.
He's the guy who sent the message that started the ball rolling that got your whole team killed.
Yeah.
For all we know, he could have just been given a memo to start that ball rolling. If he's got nobody.
Apparently we discovered that there was about 4 people who were involved in either him or something, and all of them died. Now, they all took other people with them. In other words, I think the rest of the team was collateral damage for killing this one guy.
Oh yeah, that's stuff they found out. That's this Lloyd. This is stuff they found out last week. You weren't here.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Briefly, I'll just recap a little bit for Lloyd's benefit. You guys both got data dumps. What Alan got was a bunch of emails and memos and transcripts of telephone calls, which is odd. How did Max get that? I don't know. And the gist of it is, what ended with a burn notice on Alan's team started with Rupert Carrington sending a memo to someone saying that this person, this person, this person, this person are suspected of, and they talk around it. All of these messages, none of them say anything straight. It's all talking around it. But once you translate through that, it starts out with Rupert Carrington saying these 4 people have shared state secrets and need to be dealt with. And that ended with those people getting killed and everyone around them at that particular moment in time getting killed with them. Like one guy was in a plane with like 6 other people, like a small plane, and plane crashed. Killed that guy and the other 6 people. One person was on a bus. The bus crashed. Half a dozen people on the bus got killed, including the guy on the bus. In the case of Alan's team, one guy was on Alan's team, and they all got killed except for Alan. Damn it, I'm bleeding like hell. She looked like she bit me.
Wow.
You mean? You're a mean cat. So I have scars all over my hands. I know.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So, yeah. So that's the deal. That's why they care about this guy, because all of the data dump that Max gave Alan starts with this guy sending a memo.
Okay.
And apparently that meant those 4 people must have known something about whatever this evil organization is, but they just were a risk to this evil organization, possibly.
All right. Well, what's the correlation with these 4 people? Let's see if we can dig that out.
That's what I think you were starting to last week, Brandon, as well.
All right. Well, Brandon, start poking around at Skipton House and see what kind of information they've got in their computers.
Looking specifically for those 4 guys.
Those 4 names, yes.
Okay.
Anything where they come together.
Okay. You'd need to roll really well, but okay, go ahead, give it a try.
I did not roll really well. I rolled a 5 plus 3 is 8.
You can kind of find where the data coming from these cameras is going to in Skipton House, and it's going to like a particular set of offices in the building.
Okay.
Which presumably is where they're monitoring from. It's in these, where would it be? It's above ground in like a interior office with no windows, like that. But as far as looking through their computer systems or getting into their servers and finding records of these 4 guys, you don't see anything. It's all Department of Health stuff, and these guys are military.
Right.
You may have to try again later.
Yep. Well, if he's still alive at that point. Well then, if we're not going to go...
There's going to be something in there I'm missing. Is it maybe?
I've got an idea. Why don't you try looking up these 4 people and look at their whole lives and see where their lives connect?
That's a good idea. Yeah, we'll open the focus up a little bit, right? Start checking like the internet and the dark web and places like that. See if there's any other information on these 4 names.
Okay, roll again. See what you get.
Like Department of Motor Vehicle records and birth certificate.
If you roll low, I'll give you something minor, and if you roll well, I'll give you something really cool.
Okay. Roll an 8, so 8, 9, 10, 11.
Okay, I'll give you something minor. These 4 guys were all MI-13, and Alan has given you the what's and wherefores so you can get to their servers, let's say.
Okay.
Alan's actual access has been denied, but Alan still knows what the IP addresses and all. Those haven't changed. So you get to the front door, and then from that point it's on you and you get in. Lord Llewellyn of Steep, who is former Downing Street Chief of Staff and the UK Ambassador to France at this moment in time. About 6-7 months ago, all 4 of these guys were assigned to a security, like for a private function. They were security for a private function at the estate of Lord Llewellyn of Steep.
There's our connection, I think.
Okay.
Hang on.
And
see if I got a good picture of Lord Llewellyn of Steep, because I gotta make a note of that. That's a good name.
all right, find out who Lord Llewellyn is and what his deal is, who he's connected with.
He's a peer, P-E-E-R, and he's currently on leave of absence from Parliament. But he is old politics. Like, his family goes back generations and generations. Like I say, he used to be the Downing Street Chief of Staff.
Right.
So he was like 1 or 2 steps away from running the country. And
he was the one that the college age Rupert was propositioning.
I bet they found out he's a lizard man.
All right, all I gotta do is go look.
Hang on, I gotta make a note of his name. Llewellyn of Steep. That is That's hilarious. That's a real guy. That name is a real guy.
How sad.
Okay, this is not Lord Llewellyn of Steep, the real one, but this is you find a picture of him and he looks like this. This is what this universe's Lord Llewellyn of Steep looks like. This guy. He's like 90 years old.
Yeah, totally a lizard man.
Yeah, that's a lizard man if I understand one. But he didn't even give him a particularly good
I thought he
disguise.
was a leech. Lich.
Lich. He's a lich. There you go.
He's a jerky golem.
Turkey golem?
No, jerky golem.
Oh, jerky. Oh, sure, because turkey golem, that made no sense. All right,
Yeah,
so...
it didn't make any sense whatsoever.
There you go. So, now what?
All right, well,
There's a private function of his estate in Steep, let's say, where the hell Steep is, and yeah, that's the only connection those four guys. And here's how that works. You know how in the U.S. police are kind of loaned out to like local events to like
Yes.
do check people's ID and stuff. Or no,
Right.
no, they don't actually do that. They hang around while somebody else checks ID. But if
yeah,
something happens, they can.
starts, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So like they get like loaned out or rented out to like for private functions.
Is there
Same
any
kind
way
of deal.
find out? Is there any way we can find out what may or may not have happened at this function?
Oh, as far as you can tell, nothing.
No.
Or who else was
Why
at this?
don't we look deeper and find out if something happened at this function?
Well, I mean, you can like look at like news reports and that sort of thing, but no, nothing shows up.
Hmm.
It was a private function attended by, Lord Llewellyn and whoever he invited. But whatever it was, it's not something they put on the internet. So
You get a list of the invitees.
where would you get that?
Yeah, it has to be something that's posted.
Oh my goodness.
They're probably mailed, like in the mail, with stamps.
There is a dog breeder in Steep called Not a Puppy Farm.
Okay. Alright, next. Now what? Meanwhile, poor Rupert doesn't even know that moments of his life are ticking away until somebody comes
We're
to...
trying to figure out a way to
clean
get
them
in.
up.
But I can't think of a way to get in right now without us being chased all over England again.
Specialize in miniature schnauzers.
I'm thinking that Mark is our best bet because he can do his 100-mile leaps. Maybe get that window broken open, grab the guy, leap out, and leap his way to the nearest maze, or labyrinth, whatever they're called.
Why don't we just shoot a hole in his apartment with the lizard man rifle?
We want him alive?
We want him alive.
Oh, I can make any number of distractions in that apartment building, I assure you.
That might be the best bet. We got to figure out some way to get in and get out, and be able to get to escape route before the cavalry comes.
Well, yeah, if Mark jumps in, grabs them, and jumps right back out.
Yep.
Oh,
There is.
while you're doing this sort of stuff and you guys are having your conversations, I'm sure that John Morgan, being the thorough sort of person that he is,
Yep.
you check the cameras outside the hotel where you guys are parked several hours ago at this point.
Right.
And yeah, there are a lot of just coincidental dark cars driving by and couples strolling by, and there's a lot of activity in that area right now.
So they're a couple of hours behind us.
They followed the
At
silver.
this point, yes.
They followed the silver cord. That's how they did it.
Suggest we move again.
Yep.
Yeah. Even though we haven't been spying on the apartment.
Already moving sounds good.
Where is the labyrinth in relation to this apartment complex?
Let's say that Templar HQ and
The Templar
Nine Elms is the actual name of the building. So let's say 9 Elms and Templar HQ are like across the river from each other, and the portal is over at the west side of town. The Is the West End in London actually west of London? I mean, it's called the West End. Is it actually west?
Probably is.
Okay, cool. Then it's the West End. So it's not a great neighborhood. It's like middle class, not even middle class, working class, like apartment buildings and tenements and things, and also some mixed industrial. The particular area where the portal is.
I do have a question. Can we get a phone number?
Area west of Charing Cross.
Actually says hi now.
Oh,
Hey, kitty. So anyway, yeah, there you go.
Can we get a telephone number on this fellow?
Who, Carrington?
Yeah.
Sure. That's probably something Morgan got
Because apparently
like
the
the first
only
day.
way to get him out of the apartment is to make a phone call that might pique his interest and make him leave the apartment.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you got his phone number the first day.
Yeah. So let's make a call and say we have something on him and he might want to meet us, blah, 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 blah. But the problem is his phone may be also listened to, so we may need to find a way to be that only he can hear us. When we give him an address to go to. That's the only thing I can think of. Because we're not getting into the apartment.
I think you're underestimating yourselves, saying you can't get in. But what are we gonna do?
Well, based on last weekend, I'm not so sure anymore.
I'm gonna take a brief
Answer.
bathroom break, and you can discuss or take a break yourselves. Do what you want. I'll be back in a moment.
Yeah, keep in mind, as it stands right now, I mean, I can tell you how many people are in that office building or that apartment building and where they are. I mean, it's not that difficult. And I mean, this guy doesn't look like he's got particularly formidable magical defenses. So yeah, just kick in the door, if you want to grab the guy, kick in the door, grab the guy, and haul
At
ass.
that point, we can't use magic then. We have to stay magic free, go in like normal people. And you can you take over the elevators, because apparently you need to get buzzed in to get up to the right floor.
Probably, yeah. I would.
Also, there's a little problem.
I would be fairly certain I can. But
Okay.
if speed is of the essence, I would suggest using suggest seeing if Mark would do the honors, because he's going to be a lot faster coming and going.
Yeah.
The other possibility is you got to do the typical thing of putting the cameras into a loop of some sort so that they don't see anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All I gotta say is the last time y'all talked me into going all scaly and doing something, you figured out an easier way right after I got started.
This time I don't think there is an easier way. This is probably the simplest way and probably the fastest way.
Mm-hmm. And what we can do is we can meet you at the entrance to the portal.
Yeah.
That way he can't go after us. I made it salt here.
Okay.
So while Morgan is messing with the electronics, maybe Carolyn and I can create the distraction needed elsewhere, and that'll allow Mark to go into the building and grab him and run.
One thing I want to bring to your attention.
Window and
Let's say Mark Morgan. While they're discussing this, and my impression from you, Donald, is you're just like, yeah, whatever you want. Just tell me what you want me to do. I'll go do it. That's kind of how the impression I'm getting from Mark Morgan.
He's actually more of a. Last time I did this, y'all figured out an easier way. Make sure he's always just a little reluctant to bring the crystalline form out fully. I didn't think I had. Sorry.
Well, while they're talking about what they want you to do, Mark Morgan remembers something, and this is from months ago. This is one of those messages that you like. Maybe you're dreaming, maybe you're not, maybe you're remembering it, maybe you're hearing it right then. But this is back in real world time, is from August, and this runs through Mark's head while they're having this conversation. Hang on, I gotta do more than one thing because I can only paste so much into the Google thing at a time. And I think this is actually before you guys found. Yeah, you actually heard this or received this before you guys entered the labyrinth. So, and the relevant thing is this last part. So when they're talking about bringing this guy into Agartha, that you remember that.
Maybe that's not such a great idea.
We got to get him out of here via another method, passageway. We got to maybe get him out of London.
Over your place.
We can't take him to the Templars because of because we don't want to get them involved. We promise.
Yeah, but if we can't take him into if we can't take him into Agartha, we can't take him into Agartha. We probably should not try.
I know, but we have to find someplace else to go then. That isn't the Templars and isn't Agartha. I suppose we could go out. Well, they never knew about that place.
Again,
I do have a house in Wales that I don't think they know about. MI13 doesn't know about. We could go to my place in Wales that MI13 doesn't know about.
All right.
It was under it's under this name of mine, not my name I used in MI13.
Yep, you can only pick so much secrets off a dead person, dude.
What?
He says, "Oh, and why don't we just drown him in the Thames so that doesn't solve the problem?"
We want him alive.
Yeah, okay, then you figure it out. I still say take him under the Thames and see how long he can hold his breath.
We just said we can take him to his house to take the guy to the house to Alan's house in Wales.
Okay, then.
But
Let's do that.
Just maybe listening instead of just talking.
No, I heard what he said. I was just responding to what was said since then.
Okay, so what are you gonna do?
We just got to get him out. So the plan is, I guess, to disrupt the electronics, take control of the elevators. Somebody makes a distraction. Mark goes in and gets him. We have a car ready, and we go as fast as we can.
Well, I can give you any number of distractions in the building. I can take over the elevators.
Well,
But again, I mean, consider what we're attempting here. You're basically going to be kidnapping this guy. And what are you going to do with him afterwards if he decides that basically he just doesn't want to talk?
let him know that if they don't catch us, they're going to kill him. And since they probably won't catch us, they're going to kill him.
I mean, from a sheer ruthlessness point of view, I think that the people we're facing here have got us beat on the ruthlessness standpoint. So he's bound to know that.
Yeah. Like, he talks, he doesn't have to go back.
Yeah.
He doesn't talk.
We give him back.
We give him back. Yeah.
Okay, so do something. Come on.
Hi guys.
Okay.
I'm just backup at this point. You're the main character, dude.
All right. Set it up so that I can distract people in the building.
All right.
I had an urge of the symbiote to put me in costume.
Do you say I am Groot?
What?
I asked him, does he say I am Groot?
I am Groot.
All right.
No, I am Crystar, the Crystal Warrior.
I think I know what I can do to keep maybe keep searchers busy. Is I can acquire a car of my own and just go around and well, wolf out. Maybe that's the kind of magic that will attract their attention.
Yeah, a wolf driving a car.
Yeah. Then they're chasing me around the city while you guys are going into the apartment complex.
I was gonna say we are in West End. I mean, lately he's been
drive a car, go someplace, go wolf, get back in the car, drive someplace else, go wolf. Because apparently, possibly they're attracted by magic.
Okay. I suggest Mayfair, Soho, and Leho.
Oh, Werewolf of London.
Okay, yeah, that's really going to help with your application to the Temple.
Well, it'll keep them busy, I hope.
All you got to do is show
get
up.
myself seen.
All you got to do is show up at any of the Department of Health buildings.
True.
We gotta not only kidnap this guy.
I'd probably not get that close, though. They'll respond a lot quicker. I want to go someplace where they won't respond as quickly.
Yeah.
Right. So, once I grab this guy, how do we get him halfway across the country?
What, are you bouncing there?
How fast can you drive, man?
Set up a car somewhere waiting and get in the car and go.
We meet you at the edge of town.
We get to the edge of town, transfer cars, and then go again. Because I have to meet, if I'm driving around creating a distraction elsewhere, I'd have to meet you somewhere anyway.
Yeah.
Set up a route ahead of time, Brandon, that's not covered by CCTV.
Okay.
Not at least someplace where we can.
Not freeways. There'd be like roads through towns and things.
Correct. But yeah, set up a getaway ahead of time, and make sure that we've got a planned route that we can make our getaway. I don't believe you guys are doing this. Really, this is really ruthless stuff. I'm impressed.
Okay, you have your route set. You know you're meeting up, which is apparently some house that Alan has in the country in Wales.
We're going to meet someplace outside of London so I can show them where the house is.
All right, fair enough. Somewhere far enough outside of London, some, suburb.
Yes.
Between London and Wales, presumably. Yeah. Okay, you have your rendezvous location set up. You've got your routes planned. Now what?
Well, that's too late.
Yeah. If we lined up, it's time to do it, I guess.
You guys have been planning this literally all night. The dawn is purple and orange as the sun is gonna come up soon.
Good. Hopefully he'll still be in bed.
Yeah. Let's do it before the sun does get up too high. So I'm gonna go around. Like I said, I'm gonna go around and maybe find places to park and get seen as a wolf and move again and see if I can attract their attention. At least the searchers, anyway, or some of them.
Wow. Okay.
Hey, I'm not sure that's the best.
I don't really think that's. Yeah, I don't really think that's necessary.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No, worst case scenario, go park and go do what we just did last time. Go park in front of the Department of Health.
Okay. And then move.
Okay, the last time you did that, though.
They were too fast.
No, just stand there for 5 seconds and then leave.
Okay.
I'm still in favor of not attracting their attention
Yeah.
any more than we.
I say just don't bother at all. We don't want their attention.
Okay.
We don't need them chasing us any more than they're already going to chase us if they're going to chase us.
Well, we want a distraction of some
Well, we don't
Well,
want to.
I think the distraction they were talking about was
It's
in
inside
the
the
building
building.
itself.
Yeah.
Yes, that is my intention. Yes.
Okay.
And that's his domain, not yours. You can be the getaway driver. How about that?
Sure.
Because our usual getaway drivers, jumping in through a window.
Or something.
How high can Mark Savage jump in his crystal armored up form?
The last time I jumped all the way up to catch that dude who was coming out of the building.
That was a good 20, 30 stories.
Yeah.
So,
So-
okay.
That far. Does this thing let me run up the side of the building?
You could try.
Let's give it a shot.
So, is it go time? Are you doing it?
Yep.
Okay,
So,
John Morgan, what are you doing to set the stage for this?
I'm basically just taking over the electronics on the interior of the building, getting into the security system, getting into their computer systems, setting up their CCTV system so that I can make it show what I want it to show. That sort of thing.
Okay,
Hmm.
roll a die for that.
All right. I'll use one of my points if I need to.
Then you'll automatically succeed. Then
Okay.
Yeah. You can roll the die to see how well you do, but you will not fail.
Figures I rolled an 11 on the dice.
Damn. Okay, you do really well. Yeah, you've got all you cameras slaved. You've got some doing loops. You've got some doing short loops. Some doing long loops. Things of that nature. You've got some simply pointing in. Some of them move. You've just got them pointing in innocuous directions, not obviously pointing away from things, but coincidentally pointing away from things. So you have, if you wanted to, you could probably start in the lobby and just walk straight up to the guy's front door and knock on it, and nobody would see you in the cameras.
Okay. I'm not going to do that, but okay.
But you could. You're sure you could.
Well, it might help if he can't get up the side of the building.
But yeah, once Savage starts making his run, I'll lock the elevators and set the cameras up so that they only see what I want them to see.
Okay. The elevators continue moving, because that would be suspicious if they don't.
Stopped, yeah.
But they don't stop anywhere.
Right.
The doors don't open. The doors don't open anywhere where there are with people waiting for the elevators. So they stop on empty floors. The door opens, door closes. Go to the next empty floor. Door opens, door closes. Meanwhile, Mark Savage. You're running up the side of a building. Is that what I'm understanding?
I'm going to try and run up the side of the building. See if that works.
Sure. Why not? That seems pretty straightforward.
I have no idea how this thing has. If I'm going to try one, I might as well try one.
You start kind of like by climbing, and then you just start jogging, and then you're just running up the side of the building. And let me see what this place looks like again. Yeah, you discover very quickly not to run up, because this place is mainly glass. Take a look at this.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to be stomping.
Yeah, you figure out very quickly not to run up the glass because you shatter it. And
in his apartment.
but those rails, the lines between the big glass panes, you run up those.
Yeah.
And from time to time, you gotta like jog left or jog right because they don't exactly line up the whole way out.
His apartment, then you can run up his glass because that'll break it.
But yeah, you jog up the side of the building, not a problem.
I head to his apartment.
You've been given directions by John Morgan, so you know where it is. It's not a big deal.
And we got
You
our
get there.
earpieces, too.
It is also early pre-dawn, so most of the lights, as you jog up the building are off, including this guy's apartment, Carrington's apartment.
Okay.
What do you do?
I find the room of his apartment that he's in, and does it have a window?
Yes.
Okay, time to break in.
And the view from here is gorgeous.
It's absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
You're thinking that as you kick in the window.
So tell me what you do. You're there. You know, just dude. Wait, when you get to something that I think you need to roll for, I'll let you know. Until then, just tell me what you do.
Okay, I am breaking the window.
That's loud.
Yes, I know. I expect it to wake him up. I am breaking.
And it's also like shatter-resistant glass, so it's not like you hit it and it just like shatters into a million pieces. It's more like you hit it and it crunches and cracks, but doesn't fall. And you've got to like keep hitting it and crunching it up and kind of like fold it up and push it out of the way.
Okay.
Whatever it takes.
I stamp on it a few times and then roll it out of the way and jump in through the hole. And I assume at this point he's woken up.
Actually, I'm gonna give him a roll, see if he wakes up. No, double ones. He rolls a 2.
He's dead to the world. He took a Valium, or he took one of those, or was it Ambien?
Ambien.
Yeah, okay. In that case,
You can find him in his bedroom. The bed is enormous. It's this enormous bedroom and enormous bed, again with a huge picture window looking over the river.
Well,
And he's laying in bed. He's got a mask on, like one of his like travel masks, and it looks like he's wearing earplugs as well. He's
That's why. Good for us.
okay, I wrap him up in his sheets.
that wakes him up. He's like,
Turn him into a human.
What?
Leap out the window.
What? What?
As
What?
I'm throwing him over my shoulder, I tell him, "Come with me if you want to live," and then make a running jump out his window.
Let's see. Low is good for him. He
Well,
somehow
he's wrapped up in a sheet.
actually Low's bad. He screams. He screams loudly and shrilly and continuously. You hit the window and like smash it, and again it's this shatterproof glass, so it just kind of like folds over like a shower curtain.
You already made a hole.
I already made a hole that I was coming. That I came in through.
Oh, you left through the same window. I thought you left through the bedroom window.
And Brendan, if he's wrapped up in the blanket, wouldn't he be muffled a little bit?
Yeah,
Sure.
I came in, jumped in through the bedroom window, ripped a hole open in the bedroom window, jumped in. He didn't wake up, so I wrapped him up in his bedclothes. As he starts to appear to be coming awake, the first thing he hears as he comes awake is, "Come with me if you want to live," and then he gets treated like a sack of potatoes on the way to market.
Right. When you leap out of the window and begin falling is when he begins screaming.
Okay.
I begin screaming.
You land, and that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
Gunch.
I think it's kind of like a rooftop-to-rooftop thing off the
Sure.
wherever we're meeting up.
There are a number of rooftops around.
Just tell me where you want me to have the getaway car.
You already have this planned out. Okay, we're meeting at this location.
Yeah. The rest of this ought to be all smooth.
Yeah.
You would think that.
None of
So,
the rest of this is my plan.
Let's see. We were anticipating his abduction, so let's see how well we responded. Ooh. Okay. You're hopping rooftop to rooftop, you say?
Uh-huh.
Okay. From behind some buildings come, let's say, 2 helicopters after you.
Told you we needed to get a distraction somewhere.
I key up to John Morgan. 2 whirlybirds in the sky. Can you take care of them for me?
Gonna have to find him first, so let me see what I can do. Yeah, look Brandon, look around, see if I can figure out what helicopters he's talking about.
They're easy to spot. they're
Okay.
they're two fairly small armed helicopters of the sort that are they exist, but they're largely experimental.
Ooh.
They're like prototypes.
Oh, so I should be able to hopefully come off kilter.
Say what now?
Yeah. They're helicopters, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but we have an agent of chaos to go gremlin on them.
Yes, and a witch. So he takes some. He misses, I go after him.
Sounds good to me.
The laws of physics don't exclude magic.
See if I can break into him.
Oh, cool.
Try one first.
Oh, here we go. They look like this. What fun. Wait, no, there we go. Look like that.
Ooh.
Good lord.
Ooh.
That's a
Two-
small helicopter.
Korsky Model 97?
Yeah, it's as attack helicopters go. It's fairly small, but they are fast and they are armed. And see that little cylinder on the side? That shoots rockets.
1 3/4-inch rocket launcher. Yep.
They're also extra fast. They got this really interesting thing. The tail rotor swings back into a pusher prop, and it declutches the upper two. This thing can do like 600 mile an hour.
So they are coming after you. Isn't that
That's what
fun?
I'm thinking of. I mean, they don't get to that so quickly because they got to transition over to basically auto gyros. But they are very, very fast helicopters.
They are also, because they are new, completely networked. Because
Of course they
nothing
are.
gets made anymore. That just like it's like the cup holders have internet connections. So, Mark Morgan, you find them, no problem. They are broadcasting on some military frequencies. It's a high-speed burst, very, very fast data connections back and forth to wherever their headquarters is.
Okay. See if I can interrupt their data stream.
Roll some dice.
Okay. Rolled an 8 on the dice. If I'm using my Agent of Chaos, that's a 13.
Okay, do you want to do anything that's not normally possible? Or do you just want to, like, jam them?
No, I want them to start fighting each other.
Turn them
Okay.
into little toys.
Yeah.
In which case, that's
essentially-
Agent of Chaos. Spend
Yes.
a French point, and you can actually hack into the navigation and weapon systems on one of them.
Yes. Yep, I will do that.
Okay. Morgan, behind you, one of them fires a rocket at you, and then another rocket at you, and you're fairly maneuverable, so they miss, but it, like, hits a building and blows up somebody's apartment.
Yeah, apparently they don't realize that I don't create as much heat as their usual sort of target.
Yeah, so they're kind of dumb firing the rockets at this point. And anyway, those two missed. Meanwhile, the second one goes up and drops back a little bit behind the first one. They were like next to each other, but then one like drops back a little bit and starts shooting rockets at the first one. So let's see if that works. Actually, do you want to roll to hit, Lloyd? You can if you want to.
Ideally, I don't want them shooting rockets at each other. I want them shooting machine guns at each other because A, the rockets cause a lot of extraneous extra damage when they miss, and I want to drag this out for as long as possible.
Yeah, toys.
But if rockets are my only option, then I'll go with the rockets.
I don't know if they have machine guns.
If they can mount rocket pods, they should be able to mount machine gun pods.
Makes sense to me. So yeah, instead of rockets, there's like a buzzing sound as the one from behind starts strafing the first one with machine gun fire.
Right.
I would imagine that the machine guns would be in the front, not the side.
Oh, that would make sense, sure.
They're shooting at each other, or at least one's shooting at the other.
Wow.
Oh no,
Roll the 10.
Once I get both of them, they'll be shooting at each other.
Okay, so the it hits the lead helicopter several times with bullets. And like smoke starts coming from the first helicopter, which then like veers abruptly to one side. And at this point, it's safe to say that they're just basically occupied.
Oh, are the ejection seats networked?
What?
Are the ejection seats networked?
Not in the
Yes,
helicopter.
yes, they are. Because here's why. Here's why. If the pilots go unconscious due to like severe G forces,
Right.
the controller on the ground needs to be able to save their lives by ejecting them.
Okay.
Yes.
You need to save their lives from
Do
themselves.
me a favor, make sure that the helicopters crash somewhere other than the city, like maybe in the river.
Yeah, into the Thames. Yeah.
There's
exactly.
a convenient
Yeah.
river right there.
Yeah, I was going to point them at the Thames and eject the pilots. Yeah.
Do the ejector seats jump up or drop out?
Most helicopters, the rotors blow off the helicopter, and then the ejection seats go off.
Oh, so we
Oh,
destroy
okay.
the helicopter at the same time.
Oh yeah, it's a horrendously violent and extremely expensive ejection.
Oh, I was kind of hoping that the seat would just blow them up into the rotors.
No,
That'd be a very
it's
poor
bad idea to
design.
Turn your pilots into deli.
That wouldn't help.
That'd be the very first time they tested that, the guys are gonna be going, oh yeah, should have seen that coming.
Should have thought of that one. I know one of the. I think it was one of the early American helicopters that they experimented with. They had actually fired a cable straight up into the rotor blades, which shredded the rotor blades, which was all they needed to do to get the pilots out. But I believe they use explosive bolts on the rotors these days.
Okay, so what are you doing?
Maneuver the helicopters over the Thames and eject the pilots so that the helicopters crash into the river.
Okay, that makes a lot of noise, and helicopter blades go flying, and the pilots go shooting up, and the helicopters crash into the river, and it's really quite loud. Wakes a lot of people up.
Oh, it's going to make the morning news for sure.
So
Meanwhile,
where do we want me to meet you? Where do we want to meet so we can pick you up in your cargo, Mark?
Same
That's already all set up. I'm assuming what, like out near Wembley?
Sure, sounds good.
And Wembley, somewhere in that range?
Mark meets you guys at the prearranged meeting point.
No, it would.
And there appear to be no helicopters or
Well, I'm going to
machine gun
drive
motorcycles
very
chasing you.
carefully, very casually, like I'm taking a trip to the country, which I am.
Let's see. How competently have we predicted any of this? Because I'm thinking you've planned this pretty well. Hang on.
Oh
If I
yeah.
roll crazy well,
All right. All
there'll
right.
be pursuit. I did not roll I did not even roll no, I rolled shit. So, yeah. One downside is you have a young screaming Englishman. What are you doing with him?
That's why we are meeting in a quiet location.
Well,
Yeah, stuffing him in a van, pulling a bag over his head, and taking.
no. Give him something that'll knock him out. You're a doctor.
Well, yeah, just gotta get him over here. I'll have something ready. When he arrives.
Okay, that's a good point. I'd forgotten Charlotte is actually a doctor. So yeah, Mark arrives with his screaming package. Charlotte injects him with something that puts him at ease, and he is at ease until you arrive where you arrive. So then what? What do you do?
Well, the first thing we're going to tell him is I'm going to tell him the truth. I'm going to
Wait,
tell him
we're not there yet. So you arrive where?
I do have a house, probably in Wales, and my 13 doesn't know about it because it's under my real name, not the fake name.
Is that the one you visited the first time, where the guy was in the living room?
Oh no.
Different one.
This is that was that townhouse I had in London that
Okay.
belonged to Fisher. This is the house that actually belongs to Alan Brennan.
Okay. So you get to a house in Wales. It's got a little, yard around it.
While we're driving out there, I ask if anybody can scan this guy for trackers.
Yeah, we need to do that first too.
They may be implanted.
All right, hang on. If it's emitting a signal, I can find it. If it's magical, you're gonna have to talk to the witch.
Yeah, I'll run a I'll scan him for anything magical.
I'll give Charlotte this for free. You don't find any like magical, you know, things on him like that. No.
Okay.
How about technological ones?
You get a roll
Oh, okay.
because I rolled really well.
He left his frog figurine at home.
I rolled an 8, so that would be either 11 or 13.
Okay, you almost miss it by this much. You almost miss it. On the sole of his foot, not like actually on the bottom, but just like the edge. Like it's like he's not actually stepping on it all the time. It's like on the edge, like where like the calluses of your foot meet like the fleshy part on the side. He's basically got a RFID chip. Or
Right.
what do they put in like dogs and cats? It's one of those.
Yes.
Can we get it out without? Can you get it out, Charlotte?
Sure.
Stop
I can
you.
get it out. I got an X-Acto knife, so.
Yeah, anybody with an X-Acto knife can get it out. It's just a
Okay.
strip of metal about.
We'll dump it here, and then we'll keep
It's
going.
a little smaller than a grain of rice. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like this.
Okay. All right, get it out. We'll dump it here. Keep going.
I know the ones they use for dogs and cats. I mean, they use a hypodermic to inject the thing, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I rolled really well for that too, so kind of bummed you found it.
So we're gonna
If I'd
remove
rolled just a little bit better, it would have been in his groin, because nobody ever searches the groin. Anyway, whatever, you found it. It's done.
Great. He wakes up with Doc Spooky taking a knife to his gut. That'll
Stay
help.
still.
That'll
I
calm.
wouldn't want
Okay.
anybody with a scalpel messing around with my tank, yeah.
He wakes up feeling really sore in bad, very uncomfortable places.
Well, get it out.
So you roll up to this house in Wales. It's got a small amount of acreage around it, so it's somewhat private. Little wall of cobblestones all the way around, and what do you got? An unconscious guy. What do you do with him?
Take him in. I mean, we need to find him. We need him safe somewhere.
You carry him in. You don't see anything untoward in the neighborhood. There's no suspicious characters watching the front doors, nothing like that. When you walk in, the place is kind of dusty. Doesn't look like anybody's been here in ages.
Been here in ages, this is why. Well, I can start cleaning up. There's a bedroom upstairs if you want to. I think you better tie him down until someone can talk to him.
Two
There's several
stories
bedrooms.
with a
There's-
basement?
What?
Is it 2 stories with a basement?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
I'm figuring he's not wealthy like, I mean, he's not uber wealthy, but he's gentry.
I got it. I'm just making a mental picture.
Yeah.
So you tie him up, you say?
Well, make sure, well, yeah, because we don't want him running when no one's watching until we can talk to him.
All right.
Put him in one of the nicer, there's 5 bedrooms upstairs. Put him in one of them.
5 bedrooms? Jesus.
Gentry.
I wish I had 5 bedrooms. All right. Anyway.
No,
Okay, so eventually the guy wakes up. Is there anything you need to do before that time, or are we just going to fast forward to it?
We need to clean up. He needs to clean up. It's dusty, you said. Take sheets off things.
Get rid of the car, get another car.
Get rid of the car, get another car. Actually, I might have a car still functioning in the garage back
Well, you
there.
don't want to use up that one. You may need that one someday. So
Yes.
while you're
Yeah.
cleaning up, Mark and John drive into town somewhere, drop off this car, walk around, find another car, hotwire it, and drive it back.
I'm going to be useless for interrogating the guy because apparently he doesn't have wireless. So, yeah, you guys are on your own on that one.
You guys get back with another car. This one is much less fancy than you've been accustomed to. It's like a
Oh, you don't want to be noticed.
Ford Escort level car, or whatever, Toyota Camry, like that level of car.
Mhm.
So,
It's not
There are-
garbage, but it's not. It matches the area.
yes.
Oh, but
It does
by the
not
way,
stand
pick
out.
up some food. While you're stealing a car, pick up some food.
Yes.
This house hasn't been used for a while.
By this time, it's early morning, so shops are open. You go grocery shopping. You pick up some bread, some milk, some eggs, some whatever. So you get back. Charlotte,
I'll
how
stay back
long?
to help clean.
How long is this guy gonna be unconscious? Do you think?
How long you want him to be unconscious?
You're the one who injected him. I don't know.
It depends on how long people. If people think I would need him unconscious, I would have aimed for approximately that amount. You know.
Go for a couple of hours.
Yeah, just a couple.
Okay, so
Until we
you
get
have
around-
more than enough time to get a car, get food, come back, make breakfast. Everybody's eating. You're all sitting around in the dining room eating, and you hear screaming from upstairs.
Let's take him breakfast.
That's your cue.
That's part of the reason I figured we needed breakfast made first.
Oh, you guys. Okay.
You want? I'll take it up. I say, do you want breakfast?
So
Does
this
anybody
guy.
have any like interrogation skills as a character? Just
Really, no.
Yeah, well, I've got some serious intimidation skills.
I could see if I could cast.
Let's try not intimidating him first.
I could try casting on him.
Yeah, you could. But let's try see if he'll eat first.
So you come upstairs, you walk into this bedroom, which is, as I understand it, is not elaborate, but is tasteful. That's what I'm imagining, right? Okay.
I asked him if he wants breakfast.
Well, he's screaming, "Help! Help! Somebody help!" Like that.
Sir,
Ah! He sees you and he starts screaming even more.
I put the
Ah!
thing down.
Ah!
My hand on
Help!
his mouth.
Someone help!
I'm going to put my hand on his mouth. Listen to me. Listen to me. These gentlemen are going to kill you if they come to help you. They are going to kill you. With us, you have a chance of living. So would you calm down?
He nods with your hand over his mouth.
Okay, I have breakfast for you. Do you want breakfast?
Is it gluten free?
This is going to be a long.
There's eggs, there's bacon, there's milk. You can ignore the toast if you want.
Well, I'm not vegan. I was for a while, but no, that sounds fine. Yes, if you'd be so kind as to untie me so I could use a knife and fork properly.
Would you promise not to cause any trouble?
Of course. Why would I cause trouble? No. I want to cooperate.
Give me
I'm
your
so
word.
sorry about this yelling earlier, the raising my voice. I was a bit surprised by the whole thing, but now I'm completely calm.
I'm telling you right now, they were looking for us. If they don't find us, they're going to kill you. Because that's the only way their little secret isn't going to be discovered.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm one of the people that you almost got killed by your little order.
No. See, I thought you were simply terrorists. Oh, I've
You,
completely misunderstood.
your little
You're
order-
esoterrorists. Esoterrorists.
No.
Oh yes.
I'm
So-
the victim of your people who decided to wipe out my whole team because one member of my team had something on them apparently.
Are you Brennan?
Yes. Well, no, you know me as Fisher.
Oh, are you Fisher?
Yes.
Good lord. Thought you were in America, or South America at least.
I was. I just want to, among other things, save your life because saving your life may help me discover who had my team murdered.
Well, I have good news and bad news when it comes to that. But I really am quite hungry. Do you mind if I eat first?
Okay, you just promise to be a good behave yourself because I don't really want to hurt you. Honestly.
Actually, sticky question that. So, how long have I been unconscious? Roughly?
Long enough for us to remove the tracking device,
What tracking device?
the one that they put on you.
I had a tracking device?
Yes. You
Oh,
did.
that is
I'm
rather
telling
James Bond of me, isn't
people
it?
who were working for weren't nice people.
But no, this is rather a serious question. About how long was I unconscious? Half hour?
At least a couple hours, maybe.
Oh, good God. All right then. Well, we have to skip breakfast because we don't have time. I have
Why?
good news and I've got bad news. The good news is if you release me now, we all get to live, which would be quite lovely, I think you'd agree. The bad news is if you don't release me now, around 3 hours after I was abducted, we're all going to die, including me. And I'd rather avoid that if possible.
They've
So,
set you up
why
with
don't
an
you just let me
explosive?
go and we'll just call it even?
They've set you up with an explosive of some sort?
No. Statistically,
You're going to die anyway, because if they don't get what they want from us, they're going to kill you alone.
no. That's not how that. No. Allow me to explain. Statistically speaking, we've determined that on average, it's just shy of 3 hours that it takes to break someone to giving useful information. So, if you release me before that time, the assumption will be that I've given you nothing, and they won't have a reason to come after you. However, if you keep me longer than that, they will assume I've given you information, even if I haven't, you understand. So, and they will assume that there's no reason to keep me alive, no reason to keep, and very good reason to kill you. So, why don't you just let me go?
They've killed my team. They've already got a reason to kill me.
Well, that was different. You, come on. You know that was different.
Why don't you just give me a name, and then I'll let you go? And of course, since I probably won't act in any way immediately, they won't know that you did give me any information until I surprise attack.
Oh, I can't do that. No. Sorry.
Well, why don't you eat breakfast quickly and we'll arrange to get you out of here, okay? And I call to Charlotte.
I guess there's nothing else to be done for it then, eh? And he eats
Enjoy
his
yourself.
breakfast.
Charlotte, you said something about some help? I need it.
Try casting something.
So Charlotte comes up into the room.
Mhm.
When Charlotte comes into the room, he immediately recognizes her. He goes, "Oh, good God, you're with her."
Oh yeah.
No. I've been thoroughly conditioned against magical coercion. If you actually get anything from me, I will die. And I really don't want that to happen. So please
You're going
don't.
to die anyway.
Is that just if you're questioned magically?
No. If I give you something magically.
Then
If
they'll
I'm
know.
questioned and then give you an answer through the use of, well, there's really no such thing as magic, as we all know. But the psychic preparation I've been what's the word for it?
So if I start by pulling your fingernails off, that's not going to affect it, right?
No. That's perfectly fine.
Oh, well then, somebody get me some needle nose pliers.
Well, I mean, it won't work, but it won't cause the conditioning. That's the word I'm looking for. The conditioning. He gestures with the fork, and he's like, eating. It's like, no, the conditioning that they give everyone in the circle is if there's any kind of psychic or parapsychic coercion involved, and if I am actually in danger of revealing secrets, no, brain hemorrhage, stone dead.
They're not nice people. What got you involved with them?
Well, you know, you're young. You're ambitious. You see like a future for yourself, and then it doesn't quite work out the way you think it would. But you know, really, the benefits are quite posh. Other than when one of my mentors borrows the apartment for an assignation, if you know what I mean, I get to stay there, and it's really quite the life. The demands are low, the rewards are high.
So what happened at the Lord of Steep's get-together that caused you to need to kill 4 people?
I've never killed anyone. Good
Well,
heavens.
it caused the order to have these 4 people killed. What happened at this get-together at Lord Steep's?
You see, that's the sort of thing I can't tell you.
Hey, Brandon,
Yes, sir.
start going through the logs of the building, and stuff like that. Find out who else has been coming and going from that building.
There's something called the Circle. We know that now, too.
And if I can, narrow it down to like the 18th or 26th floor. You don't have to tell me right now. It's just something to work on while these guys are rather ineptly interviewing this guy.
I don't know if there's any way we can get anything out of him, but if what he says is true, the sooner we get him out of my house, the better. So we might want to move again. Let him eat his breakfast and knock him out.
He finished his breakfast.
Uh-huh.
So, that's quite good. That's, surprising. Considering that you're esoterrorists, I have to say, you're being quite
Simply wanting
civil
to
about this whole
avenge
thing.
the death of my people. That's all I want.
Oh, that was just business.
I don't care. Innocent people died. And I don't like it when
Innocent people die all the time. Can't very well going avenging all of them. No one be alive. And what kind of war would that be? No.
Well, what's to say your little organization isn't a danger to England either?
I beg to differ. My organization, as you call it, is England. Or, more to the point, the Empire.
Can I use my talents as a spy to figure out if he is sincere?
He's not smart enough to be insincere.
Okay.
I asked him if he's part of the House of Usher or something.
Me? Oh, no. Although I am hoping for a peerage at some point, but it won't be hereditary.
If we're gonna get rid of, take care of it, shall I?
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
So how long has this been? Because I really do need to urge you about that 3-hour time limit. They are really quite strict about that.
Take care of that now.
Yeah. Sticking with another, make another solution.
He just looks disappointed and then clunk.
We move.
Where do you go?
Anywhere from way far away from my house.
Drop them off at the beach.
You're kind of cramped in the car that you've got now. It's like there's 3 of you in the back seat and the unconscious guy's in the middle.
Actually, not all of us have to go. I'll tell. Morgan can stay at the house. If
Okay.
stay at the house, he can stay too.
If we drive him up to Liverpool, we can put him on the ferry to Dublin.
Sure, why not?
And I don't think
We can leave the car on the ferry. We can leave the car on the ferry.
I don't think we should stay in the house.
Yeah, leave him asleep on a ferry that's going across.
Well, no, I'm talking. Let's leave Mark and Morgan in the house. Drop the car on the ferry. Hitch a ride, get a taxi or something, and come back and pick them up.
Wait, are you done interrogating this guy? I'm just
I'm not an
curious.
interrogator by any stretch of the imagination. I wouldn't even know where to start.
And I can't do it magically.
If what you say is true, she can't magically unless she wants to read his mind while he's asleep.
I'm willing to cut his toes off one at a time until he starts talking, but
Well, we can take the chance. Well, I can drive to the ferry. If you want to try to read his mind while he's asleep.
It certainly beats just letting him go after all of that preparation.
Yeah.
Was he telling the truth when he said that?
Besides that, they may have handed him a lot of crap. He may have no defenses whatsoever. You've got no way of knowing until you actually start poking him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, but I can't stop. I would like to point out medically that brain aneurysms quick and deadly, and I can't stop too much about it.
well, you could question his ghost, wouldn't you?
If he makes one, he sounds a bit stupid enough to not make one.
So, what are you actually doing?
It's worth a try. He's asleep. The defenses may be asleep too. Who knows? I'll drive. You can push. Whatever you do. He's going to die anyway. I'm sure. Well, this is what I believe. Remember, this is the thing that you told.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just think it's funny. So, moving on. What do you do? It's getting kind of late. We need to wrap up soon because Lloyd turns into a pumpkin around now.
Yeah.
Sure, I do.
I need to go. I need to get up for work tomorrow myself. So.
Yeah.
Make it quick. What are you doing?
Fine. You guys want me to try to read his mind?
Yeah. We're gonna do it as far away from my house as possible, though. That's for sure.
Okay. On a country road between Wales and wherever the hell Donald was talking about. Some ferry.
Doodle.
Roll the die. Roll some dice. See what you do.
What did I think of at this point?
Rolled a 9, so 13.
Ooh, that's actually quite good. Yeah, that's actually great. You're like, he's unconscious, and you're like casting a spell to like sift through his memories in his mind, and actually, you do see some kind of psychological thing in his head, like some kind of like, if you were to imagine it, it would be like a barrier, like a fortress around some information. But it only faces one way, and it's over there, like his face. Like his face is over there, and the big wall faces that way. But he's unconscious. He's not talking. So you can like actually kind of tiptoe around that big wall. And yeah, the wall on the back side of it has all these big heavy cables that extend up to pieces of his brain with bombs attached to them, psychologically speaking. So, but apparently he was both telling what he thought was true and actually telling the truth to that. So if you had actually magically coerced him to reveal something, he would have been stone dead, like within minutes. So that's fun. But he's unconscious, and you're not doing that. Instead, you're like sifting around. What are you looking for?
And anything related to what he was saying? Like, okay, what do I need to get out of this guy? So, anything related to this? The Steeps guy?
Lord Llewellyn of Steep?
Well, you also want to know the organization.
The organization.
He knows the organization as the Circle, and the full name is the Circle of Enlightened Masters to Preserve the Sanctity of the Crown of Britain, or something like that. It's a very long, ornate sounding title.
So he does work for the government. Yeah.
He thinks so.
He thinks so, yeah.
But not the fake government, not House of Lords, House of Parliament, Queen. No. The real government. The real King of England, who is, he's been told, is somewhere up near, actually in Scotland. Like there's a castle in Scotland where the King of England actually is. That's what he's been told.
So in other words, he wants the monarchy. He's looking for a monarchy rather than this parliamentary fake monarchy.
Right.
Okay.
At least that's what he thinks.
Yeah, what he thinks, okay.
He does not know what actually happened at Lord Llewellyn of Steep's private function. He was told by Lord Llewellyn himself, personally, that those 4 people needed to be removed from the field.
So it's Llewellyn that ordered it.
So he said whatever he needed to say to put that ball in motion.
All right.
He knew they were going to get killed. He knew 100% that what he was doing was signing those 4 guys' death warrants. And he doesn't really care that like 24 other people got killed along the way. He's not terribly nice.
I kind of figured that.
I mean, he's English, so he's polite, but he's not nice.
All right. Anything else we want to know?
Well, we have it that Llewellyn is the one that ordered it, and the Circle supposedly is in the best interests of our government, which is a start. You have a conscience. I don't have as much of a conscience because I'm military. I don't see any reason to want to preserve this man's life anymore, based on what you've told me.
That's
I
Okay.
don't want to kill him in cold blood.
But you understand, you don't have to kill him.
I know.
His own people are going to do that for you.
It's been more than 3 hours. We just leave it.
Honestly, we go on with our plan. We put him on the ferry to Dublin.
Yep.
In the car, asleep.
Oh, the 3-hour thing. He, as far as he knows, that is 100% true, and he can think of at least like 3 other occasions where
Probably
someone has been
because-
kidnapped,
Yeah.
and if they're gone more than 3 hours, they are written off.
Well, it's because of the tracking device, which he doesn't have anymore. I say put him on the ferry to Dublin, asleep, in the car. Let them sort him out. We got enough of what we need, I think. We have Llewellyn. He's the one that ordered the deaths. And I am curious about this king in Scotland, if he really exists. But we can. That's not as important right now. I have a name.
Ditch the car and
We'll get a we can get a series of taxis back to my house in a circuitous way. So we're gonna put the car on a ferry to Dublin.
All right. You get on the ferry, you park the car, you get off the ferry, you wave goodbye,
Go home.
you go home.
He didn't know how to get to my house. He's only seen the interior. I'm not too worried.
Fair enough. And actually, John Savage can't stay behind at your house. He's got to actually find and then drive a second car to drive everybody back to your house. So
Yeah.
you kind of had to carpool to the ferry.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else before we wrap up for this evening?
That way we can just take that car back.
Right.
Yep. And have a nice good lunch. Since I provided food.
Start finding out what I can about Lord Llewellyn of Steep.
And we can, at this point, I think it's safe to stay at the house. It's probably as safe as we're going to get for a while.
Well, when you get back to your house, it's still there. Well, and that's a good sign.
It's still there? Okay.
It's still there. There's no sign of, suspicious characters watching it, so you think you're okay for now.
We're okay for now. That's good. I never gave him my real name. I used Fisher, so.
Okay. Anything else before we wrap up?
Yeah.
Nope.
No? We all good? Okay then. We're going to wrap up now. Why are you not playing?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Had to get rid of something.
Aha! This has been Conspiracy Theory with Kieran Torres, Donald Von Griffin, Leslie Danaberger, Glenn Montgomery, and me, Jim, Brandon Blackmore. Thanks for coming. Thanks for playing. Have a good night. See you next week.
Well, good night, but I will point out we haven't heard the music. So if you're playing it, it's not there.
Oh, god damn it. I think when I'm recording, we'll hear the music.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we didn't.
Oh, wait, here we go. You hear it now?
Good night, everybody.
Have a good night.
All right, guys. See you next week.
Exactly.